All right, this update is brought to you by Indeed.com. Padres beat the Dodgers last night. They won a meaningless series versus the Dodgers for the first time since 2021. Blake Snell pitched very well, went 6 innings, lowering his ERA to a league best 2.43. Padres have an off day today before they start a 3-game series and their road trip coming up this weekend with the Oakland A's. And week 2 kicks off tonight in Philadelphia as the Eagles will host the Vikings. Kickoff at 5:20 tonight on Amazon Prime. Summer days getting shorter and business to-do lists getting longer. You need Indeed. Their all-in-one hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Sponsor your first job and get hiring today by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It's hour 1 of Jon and Jim. Great job, Brent, on the open. We have a great show lined up for you today. Aguicarope, AG. If you just heard that national update,
Oh my
they were
gosh.
talking about Aguicarope.
Aguicarope.
He's going to join us at 3:30. He is San Diego State's new director of basketball operations. I have that right. Isn't that his title?
You should know this.
I really should. Because we're going to have him on in 25 minutes. I meant to write his title down. And the exact title is that Aguicarope is the director of player development. What
There
I
you
said,
go.
basketball operations, player
Yeah,
development.
you're thinking of AJ Preller right now.
Yeah, I really am. Anyway, AG, I mean, if you followed San Diego State basketball history, this is one of the most likable, valuable, important pieces in the history of the program. And they stay in the family. He's been hired. He'll be on the staff. What an amazing opportunity for him. We'll catch up with him at 3:30. We also have a weekly fantasy football guest that will join us for a first time today. Paul Charchian, Charch, if you will, Jim, CEO of GuillotineLeagues.com. He's great on the subject. He's on like every radio station in the country on Thursdays throughout the NFL season. He'll join us today at 3:45. Typically, he'll join us Thursdays at 3:30. Now, before we get into what the Red Sox did today and what it means for the Padres and AJ Preller, Red Sox cleaning house, getting rid of their 3.5-year GM, Chaim Bloom. And then Jim got all like, I'm putting my foot down, and I'm mad, and I'm going to Twitter. And how does Chaim Bloom get fired after 3 years? But AJ Preller's been here for all these days. You know, he's been here for 5,000 days is what Jim put on Twitter, or 4,500 days. And then someone called him out. They're like, no, he hasn't. Like 9 years times 365 is like 3,000 days. And he's like, oh, my bad. So explain how you got to you basically said he's been here for like 15 years, but he's been here like 9.
Dude, I don't know.
The math you did is so dumb. You
felt like 15.
It's felt like 20.
Tell people what you did to come up with the number of days that AJ Preller's been GM.
So I don't know why I did this. Like Darnay Tripp tweeted at me like, can you send me your method here?
Like your math.
Right. Because like you were in high school algebra. Like show me how you got to this number.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're an idiot. How did you get there? I was sitting down on my couch at home, and in my mind, I was like, okay, I did it the most complicated way possible. I opened up my notes on my computer.
Like he literally did, yes.
And I put down how many days were left in this year. And then I put how many years, like 365 for some reason I did it 9 times.
You wrote down 365 9 times.
Then,
In a notepad, 365, 365, 365. And then the remaining days of 2023.
And then I subtracted the amount of days that were in whenever we got hired in 2014. And then I added those up and then subtracted those days.
Why didn't you just go to the news release? Well, I would have Googled AJ Preller hired, and let's say it said, I'm making up, November 18th, 2014. And I would have then gone to how many days has it been since November 18th, 2014 to Google? It would have told me. Or you know what I would have done, Jim? 365 times 9. He's a 9-year GM. He's been here 365 days for those 9 years. That's the amount of time he's been
Someone's like, give or take 1,300 days.
Yeah.
It's like 40 years.
Yeah, you said he's been GM for like 13 years. He's in fact been GM for like 9 years. Your point remains he hasn't won at the level that is necessary to keep jobs. Chaim Bloom, who was a highly regarded executive when the Red Sox hired him, a lot like Andrew Friedman was when the Dodgers hired him, both from the Rays tree, right? The Tampa Bay Rays executive tree. He got 3 years, Jim, 3.5, and then includes the pandemic season. His final record as general manager of the Red Sox is over 500. He also took the Red Sox to a championship series. He did it in 2021. That Red Sox team won 92 games in 2021. He can't keep his job. Mets, wholesale changes, not good enough. White Sox, wholesale changes. They're not good. Padres, stability, right? They got stability here. So what's different? That's a great point. Listen, I'm leaning more and more to what you're saying every day. When I see these decisive decisions made by organizations like Boston. Now, Jeff Passan was very critical of this today. Did you see that? It's like they haven't spent like they used to.
And then Bill Simmons, like him or hate him, he does a lot of things that rub people the wrong way. But he did point out a lot of things that I also retweeted. And when I read this to you, tell me who the first person you think of is.
Okay.
All right. Let me pull this up here. And here we go. Bill Simmons. Chaim Bloom was a terrible GM. He is definitely good at drafting prospects, but putting together a 40-man roster, figuring out who to spend real money on, evaluating his own talent, dealing with his manager, handling trade deadlines, really bad.
So replace the two words Chaim and Bloom with AJ and Preller.
It's all of these things that I'm reading about Chaim Bloom with the Red Sox you just replace his name with AJ Preller and you replace the Boston Red Sox with the San Diego Padres.
Yeah.
And that is what AJ Preller is. And honestly, he's been way worse. Way worse.
Yeah, like I said, the Red Sox, listen to this, Jim. Like, think of this. The Red Sox fired their GM today with a record over 500. They also fired their GM today with an overall 4-year record over 500. 4, 5, 6 games over. I don't need to tell you AJ Preller's all-time record. I mean, I'm not even going to look it up. If Jim did it, he'd tell you he's 4,000 games under 500 because Jim doesn't know math.
What is wrong with me?
The overall record is not appealing, obviously, for AJ Preller. Now, I can defend that a little bit, but even the overall record since like 2019, 2020 isn't overly appealing either.
Now, in the case of the Red Sox, not so much the White Sox, this is just a case of the culture of the team, right? The Red Sox are like, hey, we want to win World Series.
Exactly.
We don't care if we sell out. We're going to sell out regardless. We want to win World Series. And if you're not going to do that, then
we need to find
out of here.
What do I always say? Are you in the business of selling or are you in the business of winning? It's like they've been really good at selling. Can they win?
They're not in the business of winning, John. Right now, it's not about the big league roster. And that's a problem.
What's it about? San Antonio's
probably
September schedule?
Side poodles.
It's about anything other than what's like, hey, don't look here, look over here.
Tin Caps Loons tonight?
Do they play tonight?
Yeah, you better believe they do. They're playing for a series win.
We'll go to nonstop coverage starting at 6 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760.
No, we can actually do nonstop coverage starting at 4:05.
Oh my gosh, perfect. We're going to do live in-game updates.
Live hits.
Hits every single 5 minutes on the hour. AJ Preller's got to go, man. Got to go. It's done. Like, other teams are making moves because it's not good enough. And they're still better than the Padres. Like, if it's not good enough for other teams, why is it good enough for Peter Seidler to keep AJ Preller around? Tell me why. Give me one good reason. Because the team made the NLCS last year.
Let me be his lawyer. Let me
Because they
be
had
his
some
agent.
good prospects.
Let me be his agent.
Okay.
Let me make my cat. I'm AJ Preller. I'm meeting with Peter. It's October 2nd. The team just went 76 and 86. Okay. Very reasonable and fair. That's what's going to happen. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, it is what it is. Who cares what the final record is? And that's what it's going to be. So I go in and I say this. I say, what happened this year does not change the fact that we're positioned to win, not just next year, but this decade. And let me explain why. We have a core of players that are going to, we got a real core of players. We got a real core. We were in the National League Championship Series last year. If not for us charging, right? If you turned around the one-run game record, Brent sent us that tweet today. If they weren't 6-22 in one-run games, maybe they were 22-6. So we had bad luck. We've got the core. We can discuss the manager, but we have the core of players. We won last year. We're positioned to win in 2024. You make a change here, and you're not going to be better off in 2024 if you make the change. You can change the GM. You can change the manager. We won't be better if you do that. Stay course. We have the core. Keep me. I'll see you later. What do you think?
AJ, it's been 9 seasons. According to Jim Russell, it's been 33.
Right.
It's not changing. It's not getting better. It's gotten worse.
Yeah, but we're selling tickets.
We're not winning. You're not winning at the clip that this organization needs to win with the money spent on this roster.
Yeah, but the City Connect jersey looks really nice.
Actually, it doesn't.
Some people think it does. But you're right.
A lot of people think it doesn't.
Ha-Seong Kim bobblehead, the hat flies off.
That's Eric Grubner.
I know, but we work together on it.
I highly doubt that because you were gone scouting a 12-year-old somewhere.
Honestly, it's hard to make. It's hard to make the case.
You can't.
It's hard to make.
It's over with, and the problem is, it's not.
Well, that's the thing.
That is the thing. It won't be. You see other teams around baseball making moves, and the Padres are sitting on their hands, and specifically Peter Seidler, and it is radio silent.
Yeah, not here.
Crickets.
Right.
Like the crickets in your house.
Right.
But quieter.
But does that automatically mean? Does it automatically mean the crickets that Peter has made up his mind? What he said to Kevin 2.5 months ago still applies. That I believe in stability.
I hope not.
AJ's excellence. Remember, he did say he expects this team to vie for the postseason this year. He did say that. We read the quotes earlier this week. It wasn't only AJ's excellence and I believe in stability. He said this team had enough to vie this year. That was his expectation. That hasn't happened. That left him a little bit of an out.
Yeah. And, David J. from Mad Friars, we had him on yesterday.
Yeah.
And I asked him, what do you want to hear from Peter Seidler? And he made a great point. He's like, you know what? I don't care what they say. And I'm with you, David. I don't care what they say anymore. I don't. I'm about actions. I'm with you, David. You convinced me. And I've been talking about, I can't wait to hear what they say. I can't wait to hear this, that. I'm wrong. It doesn't matter what they say. It's about the actions that they take to fix this. And it's a 9-year failure from your general manager and president of baseball operations. And if other teams around baseball, and this is why we're talking about this right now, other teams around baseball who have decided that are actually in better positions than the Padres, decided that it's not good enough, and the Padres are the only team that's like, nah, we're actually good, then that is a problem. And that is on Peter Seidler to allow this to happen, to enable this to happen. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, David. It's about actions. And whenever this team decides to speak, because hell, they think that people are just who cares, right? Hey, we're just the Padres. We're going to focus on other things, and we're just going to let this thing die out before we talk to anybody. No. Whenever they decide to speak, it doesn't matter. It's about what the actions that Peter Seidler does. And if it's to keep AJ Preller around and then they fire Bob Melvin, then Peter Seidler is part of the problem.
Well, here's the issue. It's already a problem. You already missed out on the best available free agent, David Stearns. He is now the new executive overseeing the New York Mets.
What about Chaim Bloom? He's a free agent now.
Well, everything you just read about Chaim Bloom, whether it's accurate or not, are you going to replace AJ Preller with AJ Preller? That's a whole nother conversation. Forget about that for a second. But my point is this, and they're not getting Theo Epstein. Nope. But you get my point. If you make this change late, you're not even anywhere near your top candidate. And by the way, I don't see it as overly desirable. But if you think you can land Theo Epstein, well, you certainly can if you wait. If you think you can land David Stearns, well, you certainly can't because he's unavailable. So all of a sudden, the top available executive isn't even available to you because you're sitting on your hands.
Yeah.
That's why did the Red Sox make this move today? Not because they were putting their foot down. This has nothing to do with today. This has everything to do with getting ahead of it. Yep. Everything to do with that.
Yep. And say what you want about the Red Sox, but the owner's part of a problem there because they forced them to trade Mookie Betts, and that's on Chaim Bloom's resume, which sucks for him. I mean, he's viewed as a guy that traded potentially one of the best players in franchise history. Like, that's not.
And the issue is also what they got back for that player.
Correct. And how they lost Sander Bogarts, and they lost JD Martinez, and they lost a bunch of other players.
Although you could argue some of it has some real validity.
Yeah, and you didn't give up big contracts. Yeah. They did give out a big contract to Rafi Devers, and that
made sense.
And you had to, because if you lost Rafi Devers, I mean, give me a break if you're a Red Sox fan. But keeping AJ Preller around, for anybody out there that thinks AJ Preller is a good GM, you're wrong. One. And if you think that firing him is a mistake, then you're okay with instability in the franchise. You're okay with losing. You're okay with prospects mean more than the major league roster. You're okay with giant contracts turning out to be disasters. You're okay with, manager after manager after manager after puppet after puppet after puppet. You're okay with articles written in The Athletic about how the organization is a disaster from within. You're okay with all that if you think AJ Preller is a good GM.
Yeah, but here's the other thing. And to further your collective point and my overall point, which is like this, I always go death for whatever. You know me. I'm like the death guy.
Dude,
I don't know. I'm going to do it.
Fourth straight day
I know.
in a row.
You know how
to use your analogy to death.
Let me do it.
John's analogies are scarier than Hollow Scream.
Dude, seriously. Listen to this analogy.
Okay.
You lose a loved one.
Oh, dude.
And then you find out the loved one is like $68,000 in debt.
That's it.
But here's the issue. So now you're paying off that debt. A lot like the next GM of the Padres is going to be accountable for, well, you got Machado under contract through 2033, and you got Tatis under contract through 2033, and you've got whatever, Bogarts and all these guys under contract through 2033. They're in debt.
No, I get it.
To the organization significantly. That goes back to my point of like, you know what? You're right. You probably should get rid of them, but nothing's going to change. You can have the pony show. Oh my gosh, they brought in the great young executive from the Oakland A's before the wheels fell off, and it doesn't matter. They got 180 million tied up in 2024, and there's no saving the ship long term. I don't know. 2024 is not going to be drastically different with a new manager or GM.
You know what would change, I do think, with a new GM? Like in the immediate future. You're right. They are hamstrung. They're borderline screwed, if you want to look at it that way, as far as a flexibility standpoint goes. Going into next year, they're not going to re-sign Snell. They're not re-signing Hader. They're going to have a bunch of pieces in the rotation they're going to need to replace. Like, it's a lot, dude.
Right. So the new GM,
but here's the one thing that I think a new GM and president of baseball operations hopefully would do.
Okay.
Actually care about the big league roster. Actually be present. Actually make decisive moves instead of keeping guys like Trent Grisham on this roster when he should not be. Like, the thing with AJ Preller, and we know this, dude is always gone. He is always scouting. He is always caring about the minor leagues. He's always caring about drafting and trying to develop when he can't develop with his life dependent on it.
But hold on, because I have to interrupt there. To say, your point is fine. They haven't won at the big league level, but I don't know if it's because of care or because of location. I could do a lot of work on Zoom. I could get it is not because of desire or care. It is not because all attention is elsewhere and not on the big league team. You could say he can't build a big league team.
He can't.
But he's taken the time to attempt to build the big league team.
Would you rather have your boss be in the building every day or your boss communicating with you via emails and Zoom from across the country?
I'd prefer the in-building, but I know that there can still be an effective boss that does it the other way, even if it's not my preference. Let's break here because Aguicarope is going to join us on the other side. We can ask AG for his opinions on the front office of the Padres.
AG, would you fire AJ Preller right now because he's not a good GM?
Yeah, too bad AG just got that new job. He could be the GM of the Padres.
You're not kidding. Aguicarope added to San Diego State's coaching staff after a truly remarkable 5-year career on the Mesa. San Diego State's Aguicarope, AG, one of the most likable figures really in San Diego State basketball history. He's on the Aztec coaching staff. He will join us next. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. One of the all-time favorites on the Mesa, part of a national championship game team, Aguacarope AG, after a 5-year career, has been named to San Diego State's coaching staff. Director of Player Development will join us next. momentarily. Again, named earlier today, director of, why do I keep getting this wrong? Is it player development? I'm such an idiot.
I'm just gonna let you
Director of player development for San Diego State, which means he's on the coaching staff. He can be on the scout team this upcoming year for the Aztecs. He's like essentially a player coach. That's what he has been. And he's played with so many of those players as recently as last season. And now he's on the coaching staff.
Could you imagine if he had another year of eligibility left and he was on this team?
That'd be awesome. Well, I think that's actually a really good question. Like, how do you replace a Gwooka Rope?
That's going to be you said it. That, to me, I think him and Nathan Mensah, those are going to be tough players to replace, because you might be like, they don't score. The defense, and if you look back at the final shot against FAU for Lamont Butler, who were the two players involved in that play to get it to Lamont?
AG and Nathan.
Actually,
can we? I know we have AG with us right now. Do we have the highlight? Who knows how many times AG has watched this play or heard this play? This is what it sounded like on CBS. That final sequence against FAU for the Aztecs to reach the national championship.
Taken on, and it's blocked, pulled down by Mensah. They have the one timeout. Are they going to take it or not? They don't have the scorers on the floor. It's Butler with 2 seconds. He's got to put it up. And he wins it. He wins it with the jumper.
A Gwooka Rope with us right now. San Diego Sports 760. Jon and Jim named Director of Player Development today for San Diego State's men's basketball program after a remarkable 5-year career. One of the most likable players in the history of the program. AG, first of all, congratulations and thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, first of all, thank Jon and Jim. Thanks for having me on. It's always exciting to be here, and yeah.
Have you been able to grasp, AG, and we'll get into everything that's transpired here today with you being named to the coaching staff officially. Have you grasped like how big of a moment that was for you and your teammates in San Diego State University, that win over FAU a handful of months ago?
Honestly, no, it hasn't totally sunk in. I mean, just being in that moment, that experience is so surreal, and just the emotions are so high. It's almost like a dream. But I had someone tell me, I probably won't settle in for like another 10 years or so.
No, yeah, it takes a while for it to like truly set in. I watched a couple times this morning because Jon was tweeting about it, and it was like, oh my gosh, that was only 6 months ago,
if
maybe
that.
If that.
5 months.
Yeah, just imagine in a couple years how it is going to be to watch that. Going into your decision here to come back to San Diego State to be Director of Player Development, what went into that, and how did the discussions go? I'm sure with Coach Dutch to bring you back here to San Diego State.
I mean, honestly, I didn't. When I found out the position was open, I honestly didn't think. It didn't even cross my mind that I'd get the job just because of I don't know. I felt like it was just too high level. Skipping a few steps. I just felt underqualified. But I think a couple weeks after transpired, I got a call asking about to consider applying for the job, and I like I said, it didn't really cross my mind, but so I decided to talk to some of the assistants, and they thought I'd be a great fit, a great role for the position, and so I applied, and yeah, I got it.
Yeah, so this is something that you were actively pursuing. It sounds like that's what the case here.
Yeah, I mean, at first, no, but then I was told, I should apply for the job, and you just never know, and so I decided to do so, and so yeah.
A Gwooka Rope is with us. AG from San Diego State, named Director of Player Development for the Aztecs men's basketball team today. Truth be told, AG, you're like the perfect person because you've kind of served a little bit as a player coach, haven't you, throughout the course of your career? Because of injury, you haven't played as much as you would have if not for injury. Do you feel as if you've kind of already filled that role at times over the last handful of years?
Yeah, most certainly. Yeah, one of the conversations that I had was actually with Coach Sam Show,
Yep.
that I was with us for a year. I was having a conversation and he was telling me, because last year a few times he pulled me to the side and asked me if I ever thought about coaching, and that's kind of when the seed was planted. And then when the opportunity was available, I had another conversation with him, and we talked about that, how I've already been in that role. When I sat out because of my injury, I was teaching guys, and even being limited when I came back due to injuries, I was on the sideline coaching, being team captain. And so it came naturally to me, and yeah. Now that I'm here, it is was more of a seamless transition, and I do see I am a natural fit for this position, especially at this program.
Yeah, and I was just going to ask you, like, what exactly goes into being the director of player development? But it sounds like, it's something that while you were injured, you were already doing and preparing for the job potentially without even knowing it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, from that aspect, that was the on-court skill instruction coaching aspect of the job that I was learning. What I'm learning, a bulk of my job will be advanced scout, so scouting for whenever we play a team. I'll just watch their offense, get their plays down, and prepare that for the coaches. So that'll be a bulk of my role. Then also handling like academics for the guys, making sure everything's being run well, as well as the student managers, and making sure everything's being run on that end. And yeah, I think that's all off the top of my head. That's all I remember so far. Yeah, I believe that's it.
Ogwukarope is with us right now, AG. So, for a lot of Aztec fans, your career, even heading into last year, a lot of your teammates, you guys were so accomplished. Your winning percentage, your Mountain West championships, the 2019-20 team, that was as high as number 4 in the nation. You had done everything but win in the NCAA tournament. And then last year, you do everything and you win in the NCAA tournament. How gratifying for you and your teammates, and for those that, you spent time playing with for 4 or 5 years, like Nathan, Adam Seiko, others. How gratifying was last year?
Man, it was extremely gratifying. When it comes to college basketball, honestly, the conference titles and everything, the winning percentages is all good, but until you get a deep run in the March Madness in the tournament, it really, and almost, not that it doesn't mean anything, but I don't know, it doesn't hold up as well. And so, falling short the couple of years before that, and losing the first round, and the year before that, COVID, COVID happened and everyone losing their season. We just kept feeling like we were falling short of what we knew we were capable of. And so coming into last season, the conference titles, those were our goals. Making a tournament was a goal, but there wasn't our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal was to play for a national championship, and win. Obviously, we didn't win it, but be able to make that run, not many teams can say they've made it that far. And so it was just extremely gratifying. Just after everything we've been through, I think most of the fans know about the adversity and most of the players suffer individually. And so just, I don't know, it just made for a great story, and it just made it all that much better for each and everyone there.
And I think the goal for this year's team is pretty much the same as last year's team, because there's a lot of players returning now. You, Nathan, Matt Bradley, Keyshawn Johnson obviously aren't returning to the team. But for you, AG, how do you see this team this year stacking up, with last year's team and also the new additions that have been made? How good do you think this team could be this year?
I mean, this team we have the talent level and the character to be able to make another deep run. Right now it's still early to tell exactly how good we could be. Right now, this is all potential, and once the season starts, we'll be able to we'll get a better feel. But this team definitely does have the right pieces to make a deep run in March, and so that's exciting for everyone. And everyone knows that there's a lot of we have the bull mark on us, and everyone's gonna be coming for us this upcoming season. Making as far as we did, and that's a compliment to us, and people tipping our hat to us. But we can't settle. We have to put the last season behind us and prepare for this season, knowing all eyes are on us and everyone's waiting for us to fail.
We had Dave Velasquez on earlier this week when the schedule was released, and he mentioned a couple of times, like, listen, replacing Ogwukarope on the floor is replacing a lot. So I'm going to ask you, like, how do you replace Ogwukarope on the floor and your role and what you meant to this team? I mean,
you get another year of eligibility.
Yeah, I mean, are you going to? I know you can play on the scout team, but you can't play on the real team, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just, I don't know. So someone or a couple people are just gonna have to step up collectively and just take the responsibility of being the leader on the team and keeping everyone on track. I know there's been a couple of guys that have come to me personally and have asked, like, and have told me they desire to be better at leading and ask for my help. So I give my advice, and so I believe as long as the desire is there, it'll happen. So yeah, it's kind of it's a funny question to ask me. It's kind of hard kind of hard to explain. But yeah, I believe it can be done. It's just a matter of someone just stepping up and filling that role and just not being afraid to be a leader.
Rope, AG, congratulations, really, on all of your successes. This upcoming role with San Diego State, what a place to begin a coaching career at San Diego State, coming off a remarkable career. One of the moments of the NCAA tournament, again, started with your play on defense, leading to the outlet from Nathan ahead to Lamont, and everyone knows the story from there on out. AG, congratulations. We're excited for the opener coming up in November, and we'll catch up again soon. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks again, Jon Jim. I'm excited for what the future has in store.
No doubt. Rope.
We'll definitely be seeing him soon. Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Let's talk some fantasy football. Thursday Night Football kicks off week 2. Paul Charchian, guillotineleagues.com. A great fantasy resource. He'll join us every single week on Thursday afternoons, and he'll join us next. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. He's really good. You want to talk? I think he's talking about high and bloom.
Thanks for the super, Matthew. Says, can we get, I think, do you mean Heimbloom? Like their
GM?
Their GM? I don't know who Jay Bloom is. Can we get Jay Bloom as the manager, as the old manager of the Red Sox? I don't know who that is.
I think we're talking about Heimbloom.
Heimbloom?
Right?
I mean, what I want, would you right now want Heimbloom to replace AJ Preller?
I haven't done enough of a deep dive on it. I'll tell you this, heading into 2020, he was like as highly regarded as any executive, right? He was a young guy. He's still only 40, I think. He was hired at 36. Obviously, it didn't work out in Boston. Expectations are super high. He's clearly going to get another job at some point. I don't know if you can say the same about Preller or not. I don't know. I mean, there's going to be candidates. I don't know what happens next with High and Bloom. He had a winning record in Boston. That's a good question. I don't know. What you said earlier, what people are saying about High and Bloom is what they're saying about AJ Preller, though. Can draft, can develop, but can't put together a big league roster.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're also saying that, there were some things out of his circumstances.
No doubt.
Out of control.
Yeah.
Because the owner doesn't want to spend any money there anymore. Like they used to be a top 5 team in payroll. And they won a consistent level. And now it's like not even, I mean, they're like 12th or 13th in payroll.
Yeah.
And they made him trade away Mookie Betts.
Yeah. Jeff Passan was super critical of that. I was surprised. I don't think it automatically equates like, hey, top payroll, top team. As we know, Padres.
100%.
And Astros last year, I forget where they were, top 10, but not top 3.
Yeah.
I think you can win with the top 10 caliber payroll. By the way, the Padres next year will not have a top 3 payroll.
No.
So if you're High and Bloom, you're coming in, you're getting the 10th payroll. You're not getting the 3rd, would be the guess, right?
Mm-hmm. The reason why I don't want Heim Bloom is because he's not AJ Preller.
So you just want anyone to, because you just want to change.
Give me a change.
Thanks, Matthew.
Thanks for the super chat, man. If you guys want to send super chats, we'll get to them during the breaks. Also, make sure to become a member of the channel as well. Special emojis, badges, special viewing parties that we have as well Mondays before our show. So become a member. If you want to send a super chat, subscribe as well. Hit the like button, and I'll talk to you guys after the break.
We'll get you ready for week 2 of fantasy football with Paul Charchian. Charch is going to join us each and every week, including next. By the way, great giveaways today. 4-pack of tickets to Howl O Scream at SeaWorld, Pacific Air Show tickets to give away. We'll give away those Howl O Scream tickets during Trainwreck Radio coming up at 4:45. I'm pumped to have Paul Charchian, fantasy expert, guillotineleagues.com, joining us every week throughout the course of the NFL season.
Yes.
Starting week 2. I'm pumped about Guillotine Leagues, by the way, Paul. We're doing a draft at some point this week. So, first of all, Paul, thanks for joining us in San Diego. And let's actually start there. Tell us, for our listeners that don't know about this, Guillotine Leagues, what are we even talking about?
Yeah, it's a little bit different, but it's super fresh, different way to play season-long fantasy football. Instead of playing head-to-head, every week the low-scoring team gets chopped from the league, and all their players go to the waiver wire, so the rest of us start building superstar rosters over the course of the season. So you're playing to just not finish last as opposed to finishing first. And so it's a lot of different strategy. It's super fun as you get to like Halloween and you have this amazing roster you've never seen before, let alone Thanksgiving, and lots of strategy on like when to bid, how much money to bid on free agents. Like this week, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, guys that are hitting waiver wires in guillotine leagues, they become available for you. And so you got to give a lot of thought. Like, I got $1,000 to spend over the course of the whole season. How much am I going to spend on like Lamar Jackson right now?
Yeah, no, it's a great concept. Yeah. I love the new, style of fantasy that it's being, introduced here. Because in a regular fantasy format, I always finish last. I am probably the worst. I mean,
which is crazy because you're like Jim watches as much NFL as anyone, yet you can't do anything in a fantasy.
I mean, listen to my team here. Like I have Josh Allen, I have Austin Eckler, I had Travis Kelce, and I had J.K. Dobbins on my team. Like I am the absolute worst. My season is already over. It's already over. I'm sorry. What were we gonna say?
Well, the irony with the Dobbins thing is, had he not tore his Achilles tendon, he was sitting on those 3 rushing touchdowns that they scored. They would all been his. You'd have felt like, I've got an amazing team. It just didn't come together in week 1, but your roster still, it sounds like it's still plenty good and you're going to get some wins. Now, in the guillotine format, if you have a bad week, well, then you just get to be done for the year and you don't have to pretend to care. You just get cut out of the thing and now you don't have to act like you actually, want to win from that point forward.
Right, exactly. All right, let's get into it. A couple things here for you. Let's start with the Bengals offense. You mentioned them a little bit. What is the prospects for the Bengals offense, the big names, Chase, Burrow, to have a bounce back week up against the Baltimore Ravens? Historically, tough matchup.
Yeah, usually it is a tough matchup. And, granted, it was raining in Cleveland when Burrow played, and he looked pretty rusty. He missed the whole preseason. And get this, he averaged 2.5 yards per attempt. I mean, think about how hard it is to go win a football game at 2.5 yards per attempt. The good news is, Joe Mixon was fairly effective. The bad news is the Ravens' run defense is great. They got to face the Ravens now. They just punished Dameon Pierce down to 38 rushing yards. Ravens pass defense is a lot more suspect though, and I think they're going to see a ton of volume here. So get this, CJ Stroud, it's his first ever start last week against the Ravens. They dialed up 54 dropbacks for him. 54. So you got to figure Joe Burrow, just on volume alone, is probably going to have a much better fantasy game, along with T. Higgins. Obviously won't get to 0 catches again this week, and then Jamar Chase as well. So it probably all comes back.
Paul Charchian with us right now, fantasy expert, CEO, guillotineleagues.com, with us on Jon and Jim. So we have a resident Bears fan here. That would be our producer, Brent Sperry. What happened last week with the way they used Justin Fields?
Yeah, criminal how they used him, honestly. So, Fields has got 2 amazing traits, his running ability and then the big arm. So you would think that they would really dial in an offense to use those traits. But no, not Chicago, not offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, who gave Justin Fields 2 designed runs. 2. I heard this great stat yesterday. Josh Allen, over the course of his career, when he runs 10 or more times, the Bills are 18-2.
Wow.
Go do something special with your incredibly gifted quarterback in the running game. They did it. The other thing that kills me, deep passing. Fields has got the big arm. They brought in DJ Moore. They gave him 2 deep passes in the game. That's it. And they were trailing throughout. I mean, at some point, and the blocking was terrible, so I appreciate that. But at some point, you got to go mass protection and let Fields air it out a little bit, right? So, and Fields' poise and the pocket awareness, it still looks just as bad as last year. That's, I think, the really frustrating part for Chicago fans, like your producer, is you expected him to be better, and he didn't look any bit better than last year.
Paul, for you, after week one, of the players that might, not have been drafted and obviously picked off waiver wires for week two, who do you think could actually stick and have a good season?
Well, we should talk about Puka Nacua, right? I mean, because that's an amazing storyline that I don't think anybody saw coming, not to this extent anyway. Puka Nacua is a fascinating story. 15 targets, 119 yards on 10 catches. So the question, I think, is we're already past, like, is he good? Well, obviously he's pretty good. I think the question is more, what's going to happen when Cooper Kupp comes back? Because he ran a lot of the Cooper Kupp routes and was schemed to in many of the same ways that Kupp would be. We don't know when Cooper Kupp's going to come back. I mean, we know it's going to be at least a month, but then it just, to me, the eye test says the kid's legit. And Sean McVay's so smart. They'll find ways to get him the ball. If for no other reason, Van Jefferson's awful. Go take his reps. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity here. And I think Puka Nacua is going to remain a very solid starter.
By the way, voice of the Rams, JB Long, will join us tomorrow on San Diego Sports 760 and Jon and Jim at 5:30. Let's talk about tonight, Eagles, Vikings. We've seen this before, right? A year ago, week 2, nationally televised, Vikings destroyed in Philly. Just from even a non-fantasy perspective, what are your expectations for this game tonight?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. The Vikings are going to get destroyed. And last year, the Vikings offensive line crumbled, and it was constant harassment for Kirk Cousins. And I think the same thing's coming. The Vikings are short their starting center. Their left tackle, Christian Darrisaw, may end up missing this game. And so there's a lot of I don't love that. And, the Philadelphia front seven is ridiculous. So I don't think there's going to be an opportunity for the Vikings offense to really get into a lot of rhythm here. And I'm especially down on Alexander Mattison, who I think fantasy owners can just bench. He looked very mundane last week against an easier Tampa Bay defense, just 3 yards per carry. And the Eagles completely shut down Ramondre Stevenson, a way better back than Alexander Mattison last week. So I'm really sour on Madison, and if you've got him on your team, I think this is an opportunity to look somewhere else.
For you, Paul, is Jalen Hurts still a top fantasy quarterback in this league? Like, is he still viewed as one of the top fantasy QBs in this league?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not going to overreact to last week, where it was obviously a really tough game for the whole offense in New England. And Belichick, he does that sometimes, or he will absolutely frustrate teams. 3 hours from now, it won't even be a question about how good Jalen Hurts is, whether or not he belongs in the upper echelon of fantasy producers, because he's sitting on potentially a very big game here. I love him. I love the rushing, which I think is going to likely come together in this game, much like it did last year against Minnesota. And if they get near the goal line, it's going to be all Jalen Hurts. So I still think he's sitting on 12, 13, 14 rushing touchdowns, and I would not be surprised if that starts in a few hours.
And finally for you, Paul, for this weekend, who's the biggest sleeper that's a must play for fantasy, players out there?
Yeah. Oh, I like it. Because one of the things everybody's trying to find guys that you can come up with that are maybe off the beaten path. How about Baker Mayfield against the Bears? Bears are going to be missing their slot cornerback, Kyler Gordon. And that's where Chris Godwin runs his route. So, a great opportunity for that in particular matchup. But also, there's a super shaky defense anyway that the Packers just ripped through. And, the running game was really de-emphasized last week in Tampa. Baker shouldered a lot of the burden of winning, did enough to win the game, threw a couple of touchdowns. He gets another couple of touchdowns here. Undrafted, still available in 2/3 of fantasy leagues. You can go pick up Baker Mayfield and start him this week.
Paul, great stuff, man. We're really excited to have you each and every week around 3 o'clock hour here in San Diego. 3:30, we're going to try to do it this week. We did it at 3:45. But Paul Charchian, again, CEO of GuillotineLeagues.com. Paul, for our listeners, anything else you want them to know about the work you're doing week in and week out and how they can get involved?
Well, I'll just add this along to the super cool guillotine format. I also have player rankings available for free at guillotineleagues.com for any kind of league. You don't have to be in a guillotine league. You just want to see, like, who should I start? Is it, I'm Baker Mayfield or Dak Prescott, whatever. So we've got all our player rankings available every week there for free as well.
All right,
guillotineleagues.com.
We appreciate it, Paul. But this time next week, Jim will already be out of a guillotine league. He'll be done.
He may already be chopped at this time.
This time next week.
Yeah.
Paul, thanks for doing it in San Diego. We'll catch up next week.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, Paul Charchian. Good stuff. Good stuff. We'll do it every week.
Great stuff.
On Thursday afternoons. On the other side, dude, why is every team that Colorado plays producing bulletin board material for Deion Sanders?
And, like, not even stuff that you have to go and find. Like, it's right in front of your face.
Is this going to be every week all year long? If so, Colorado will never lose again. We'll get into that on the other side. Plus, we'll give away tickets to Hallow Scream, Hour 2, Jon and Jim next.
All right, this update's brought to you by Indeed.com. Padres, they actually won a series from the Dodgers. It was meaningless, but they won it. And now they have an off day today as they will start a road trip with the Oakland A's tomorrow in Oakland. Blake Snell, though, the only thing that matters, I guess, this rest of this season, lowered his league-leading ERA to 2.43 while picking up his 14th win of the year. Moving over to NFL tonight, week 2 kicks off in Philadelphia as the Eagles host the Vikings. Kickoffs at 5:20 on Amazon Prime. Summer days getting shorter and business to-do lists getting longer. You need Indeed. Their all-in-one hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Sponsor your first job and get hiring today by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It is hour 2 of Jon and Jim. By the way, it's a Padres off day. So, of course, we're talking about AJ Preller's future because the Red Sox fired Chaim Bloom
today. No, you got it wrong. It's a meaningless off day.
True.
Meaningless.
Well, everything involving the Padres now, Jim has to throw meaningless.
Even the on days are kind of, I mean, what are you looking forward to this weekend in Oakland? See Bob Melvin in the Coliseum? Like, is that a reason to go buy a ticket? Like, all these things are meaningless, aren't they? It's my point.
But hey, continue to listen to us talk about it.
Right. But we're going to talk about it for 3 hours a day, plus every single night on YouTube.
Yes, the games are stupid.
No, what isn't?
Listen to us.
What isn't meaningless is the direction of the franchise.
True, that's what we talk about.
I mean, if they hired Chaim Bloom tomorrow to be their next GM, yeah, it's a pretty big story. It's the next 5 years for the franchise and the direction.
Right, we're not opening every show talking about the Padres like how
I can't bat Xander third against the A's number 3 starter.
That's other shows, not us. We actually like talk about stuff that matters.
Is that even other shows, by the way?
There's a couple.
Are there other shows doing that?
Yeah.
Anyway, Padres off day, 15 games to play. This thing will come to an end at some point. The Padres playoff odds went from 0
to 0.1
to 0.1 last night. How's that possible? If you have no chance of something, how can you then have a chance?
Will Holder, man,
I love me some Will.
I don't want to
he's
do that
like,
to Will.
so you're saying there's a chance? He said the season was over, but then he saw it went up to 0.1%. He's like, get back on board.
And I have claimed that the second that this team officially gets eliminated, that's when they'll win 4 games in a row.
Now they haven't officially, because the elimination number still exists.
That could be tough. So like they could be eliminated with like 3 games. No,
many more than that. 7, 8, 9, 10.
That's gonna be
because
tough.
that's how many games out there are.
And then they win 4 in a row. Yeah, it's possible.
What if the final day of the season?
I know I said this. They win their 4th game in a row
in Chicago
in extra innings.
That'd be amazing.
It's their first extra inning win all year, and it will be their first official 4-game winning streak of the season.
What if that game goes like 16? It's like back and forth in extras. You score 2 in the 10th. They score 2 in the 10th.
Nobody's playing because why?
It's like a Sunday. It's like
why?
Week 5 of the NFL.
Yeah, it's like I'm watching NFL. Why am I watching this?
Now, they wouldn't walk off, but if they win that game, let's say that's their 4th straight win, and they win it like 14 with like a 3-run bomb, then they hold on. Like, is that a big celebration, you think, on field to win like 13-12 at Chicago? 4 straight win?
I'm sure their social media will be like, we did it.
Did what?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. Probably not.
It was excellent. And it was magnificent.
Right, for Manny and
wonderful.
Right.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, well, that's basically social media is a tough game.
I know it's tough.
When you're in
hard.
charge of
I get
social
it, I
media
get
for
it.
a losing team.
I'm just
What are the A's tweeting?
nothing.
Hey, we lost. Oh, we lost again. Hey, we have
a game today.
Hey, Bob Melvin will be here tomorrow if you want to see him.
So true. I know the social media team has literally no
It's hard.
blame. It's just hard. I get it. It's hard, but it is also at times like very cringe. Like, did you see the tweet today? Talking about
Renew your tickets.
renew your membership plan.
Well, again, that's not because of the social
fault.
media
It's not
team.
their fault. But if you're the social media person for the Padres, you're probably sitting there and you're like,
oh, I gotta
dude,
tweet this
I have to tweet this out right now. Like, really? And then their mentions are just all over the
So
place.
they tweet out earlier. I'm glad you mentioned it. Calling all Padres members, which is what they now refer to as season ticket holders as members, right?
Yeah.
Don't forget to renew your 2024 season ticket membership by September 15th. So that's what, tomorrow?
Yeah.
And then they link to padres.com/whatever 2024 renewals.
The first comment, it was a middle finger emoji.
And this is the hard part about social media and sports. When you're,
So
by the
hard.
way, if this team was leading the National League West right now, this would be like the greatest thing ever. Like, oh, I'm
greatest thing
back,
ever.
can't wait. I don't care what the price is, I'm all in. But this is how sports work. It can be fickle. And even with these reactions, Jim, I'm being honest. There's going to be a lot of renewals. I'm sure people are upset.
Mm-hmm.
Because we take sports so seriously. It's a good thing that people are upset.
Yeah.
It's a very good thing. But 2024 Petco is going to be, there's going to be a lot of Padres fans. Is it going to be the same thing? I don't know. They got to get this figured out. But I'm not worried about the replies to their, hey, renew your season ticket membership. I'm sure people are pissed.
I'm not either, but they're also what you'd expect.
Yeah, like
after a season like this.
I'll renew if you win, or I'll renew if you make changes.
And to be frank with you, if I look at this tweet, all right, how many actual people commented on it?
Right.
It's
not thousands.
It's
100. Is it even?
Maybe less than that.
Yeah. So it's not
a little
million.
over 100.
Well, they have thousands and thousands of ticket holders.
And they have 658,000 followers on Twitter.
Right. And 87 people say, hey, I'm not doing it.
And then 39 people quote tweeted say you suck. Like,
exactly.
It's
And by the way,
not a
some of those
huge
people are probably
majority.
back in.
Right. So there's still going to be 15,000
Of course there will.
season ticket holders next year, and 120 people on a social media post doesn't, say the whole story. But it is a thing that you look at where it's a 99% majority of everybody on every single post saying, you guys suck, I hate you. Like
so happens when you're losing.
That's not good.
This is like being Jim Russell on social media.
But worse.
Exactly. All right, still ahead this hour, your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Howl O Scream at SeaWorld, September 29th through October 31st, only on select nights. For more information, visit SeaWorldSanDiego.com. Still ahead between now and 6 p.m., we'll give away a pair of tickets to the Pacific Air Show, returning to Huntington Beach, Friday, September 29th to Sunday, October 1st, and is bringing more sky-high action and nonstop thrills than ever before. GA tickets only $25, plus booking fees, PacificAirShow.com right now. Let's get to this.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Was Lamont Butler's shot last year the biggest moment in SCSU sports history?
No, San Diego sports history.
If it's
Guys.
SCSU, it is the biggest moment in San Diego State basketball history. But San Diego sports history,
Correct.
Let's run through a couple here. The Garvey home run. I would put Tony Gwynn's 3,000th hit in there. I would be, beating the Braves, going to the World Series in '98.
No.
Beating the Dodgers
Moment.
last year. I know, moment.
So I need like Jake Cronenworth's hit.
Okay.
I need Garvey's home run. I don't
Yeah.
need beating the Braves.
Well, that was
I
a
don't need
moment.
Tony Gwynn's hit counts.
Okay, that was a moment. I think.
No, I need a
though,
moment.
when Trevor
That's
Hoffman
a
got the
game.
final
Okay,
out.
That's your moment.
Trevor Hoffman getting the final out to send
There's
the
your
Padres
moment.
to the World Series in '98.
What about Blake Snell 6 innings last night moment
Not quite.
for the National League Cy Young?
It's a good question because do we put any Charger moments in there? Like
You
when they
can.
in
Yeah, I
Pittsburgh
think in the
to go
moment.
send them to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that could be there.
Okay. It's up there. I would say it's. I don't want to say it's definitively number one because I'm sure other people would.
If it won the national title, it's definitively number one.
Definitively number one if they won a national title. I agree. So with that being said, I'll say it's like
top three.
Top three, yeah.
70470 started with team. Just rank your top 3 moments. San Diego sports history for you, or in the chat, or call us 844-570-1360. Is Lamont Butler's moment shot in your top 3? Is it number 1? 70470 started with team. For me, and again, I haven't spent my whole life here. For me, it's the clear, absolute, definitive number 1 moment. And even when I go back and reference these other moments, I mean, you could easily make the case that this moment is as good as any moment. The Garvey homer is huge, to be honest. You're going back 40 years. That's a huge moment.
I don't know if people like truly want to embrace Garvey.
No doubt, because of the Dodger thing. But that's why I would say, I think Lamont Butler and San Diego State basketball have a legitimate claim for as good of a moment as San Diego has ever had in sports last April.
And then the Cronenworth hit in the postseason last year was great, but it fades when that was a division series.
Right. If it was the World Series, yeah, exactly.
So
next question.
It's up there for sure.
After last night, is Blake Snell a lock to win the NL Cy Young?
Anything could happen, but right now he's the clear favorite. I would say he won the Cy Young last night with that performance. I think he won the Cy Young last night.
That's so interesting because we've kind of differed on this. I think he's going to win the Cy Young. I do not think he won the Cy Young last night. Justin Steele's season with the Cubs has been really, really good. He's 16-3. Mm-hmm. And if Blake Snell's next 2 starts, let's say, aren't good, then let's not say terrible, but let's say 5 innings, 5 runs, 5 innings, 5 runs in his last 2 starts, I think Justin Steele could absolutely win it. He's 16-3 and he's on a very good team. He could finish 17-3 or 18-3. If Steele finishes and Snell doesn't, I think it goes to Steele. If Snell just pitches effectively, he does not have to have his best outings. 5 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 3 runs, his last 2 starts, I think he will win it. But I don't yet think it's a lock. I do think it's his to lose heading into the final 2 weeks of the year. Next question.
Is tonight a bigger game for the Jim's Eagles or the Vikings on Thursday Night Football?
Erin texted me and she goes, Eagles game tonight, can't wait.
So where are you guys watching this?
At home.
Now, this is an Amazon game, right?
Yeah, I have Prime.
You have Prime or your ex-girlfriend has Prime?
No, I legitimately have Prime.
Or your friend from middle school has Prime.
Unfortunately, all of my ex-girlfriend's passwords are gone.
They've all changed?
They've all changed, yeah. I got locked out of the Disney Plus.
Oh, this is the whole reason you were dating.
I know. No, it wasn't. But and then
you're
Netflix.
I saw she's a keeper. She's got 13 different streaming platforms.
I know. We have every single streaming platform. And it's because of our also roommates too, so we can never not have our roommates in the house as well.
Just live with them forever.
Our TV in the living room is so funny. We have every single platform.
That's amazing. There's nothing you can't watch. Essentially,
there's nothing we can't watch. And
you have Peacock.
Yep.
Wow.
And everything is from different people.
Right.
It's not from the same person. It's all different people. It's great.
You didn't answer the question.
What was the question?
Bigger game tonight for the Eagles, your Eagles, Aaron's Eagles, or the Vikings?
Vikings, coming off of a loss versus the Tampa Bay Bucks in Week 1 at home, to drop to 0-2, the percentage to make the postseason goes down to 10%. Yeah. So from them being a playoff team last year, and obviously they have high expectations coming into this year as well, it's a way bigger game for the Vikings and the Eagles.
It absolutely is, and they're a pretty significant dog, 6 or 6.5 points. I mean, not overwhelming, but they are a dog tonight in Philadelphia. This will not be an easy game to win. Remember, Minnesota got off to a great start last year, and it'll be harder to do, like you said, if they start 0-2 this year. So it is a big game for the Vikings. If they steal it, wow, right? Then you're in really good shape. But if you don't, you're 0-2, and that is hard to dig out of. Next question.
Will Colorado cover the 23-point spread against Colorado State on Saturday?
They're going to win this game by 40 points. I'm calling it right now.
Because of Jay Norvell.
They're going to win this game by 40 points. If none of this stuff happens today, and we'll get into it in a little bit, it's one of the best stories of the day. Everybody's talking about it. I mean, it's literally everywhere on television. People are wearing hats and sunglasses on college football shows. It's amazing. But if this never happened, I would say it would be tough because there's a look-ahead factor here to Oregon next week. But now, with what Colorado State, their head coach, did, They're going to lose by 40 points.
All right, let's hear what he said. Jay Norvell is a longtime head coach of the Mountain West. He was at Nevada, had good teams, left Nevada for Colorado State in league. Now, remember, you have to almost preface this with Matt Rule. I forget what he said in the offseason.
He didn't say much. Like
I know, but they took it as a huge slight.
They took it and made it into something huge.
Exactly.
And Matt Rule's like, bro, I didn't say anything.
So there was the Matt Rule slight. Who else have they played so far? I don't think TCU necessarily slighted them. But there may have been.
Maybe. Well, they used the first game of the year, not because of anything TCU did, but
Us
from
against the world.
Everybody else around them.
Right.
Like media people.
But
and
hear
then
me out.
Oregon next week is...
Well, Oregon already said, what has Colorado ever done in the history of the league?
Right.
That was the head coach of the Ducks, Dan Lanning. So they're going to treat that like, it's the worst thing that's ever happened in the history of world history. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how they use this as fuel. And that's a credit to Deion Sanders. And we'll hear from both Deion and Jay Norvell coming up in a moment. He's working on the sound. So we'll hear from both of them. We'll do it at 4:30. But I'm telling you, everything has worked out perfectly for Colorado. Not just on the field, it's what's happening off the field that they bring with them to the field that's working out absolutely beautifully.
It's the perfect storm. We've asked this question. Can other teams get their Deion or something along those lines? No, they can't. He is a one of one. No other team in the country will be able to get a Deion Sanders because there is no other Deion Sanders out there. He brought his son with him, sons, actually. He's brought another top recruit with him. He's brought multiple other people in the transfer portal with him. Like, dude, and by the way, this weekend is going to be insane at Colorado. You have every single TV show there from ESPN, the Pat McAfee show, College Game Day. You have First Take there.
You got Fox there.
You got Fox. Kickoff. Big News Kickoff. You're going to have it on ESPN.
It's at night.
It's at nighttime. It's going to be crazy. And oh, by the way, it was announced today that on the Pat McAfee show, who's hosting their show from Colorado, is going to have live in person. I believe in person, but they said it like it was in person. Guess who's going to show up to the Pat McAfee show on Saturday?
Deion Sanders.
No, someone bigger than that.
Aaron Rodgers.
No.
Someone big. LeBron James.
No, this person is the
president of the United States.
No, okay. No. I would say this person is the biggest actor / sports entertainer. The Rock. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, will be on the Pat McAfee show live in Colorado Saturday afternoon.
Because just everyone's infatuated with it. It's the story of sports. It's not just the thing. Here's the thing. And Darren talked to JD Wicker about this yesterday, right? During his conversation. It worked for Colorado now. The saying is so true, lightning in a bottle. You can't emulate. We've talked about this a lot too. You can't just go say, well, Deion worked here, so whomever is going to work there. Maybe Deion to Colorado now just works. And in the moment, it looks like that. The TCU win, the Nebraska win. Who knows what happens from here? I just think, and we'll hear this coming up actually, so we can react to it. But I just think what he's doing is one of one stuff. And if you try to do this, give me another example. Again, Ed Reed was coaching. If all of a sudden you hire Ed Reed, that doesn't mean he's going to have the same effect as Deion Sanders or whomever else. Deion's a one of one guy.
I can't think of anything in sports off the top of my head that worked to this level for any type of sport, baseball, basketball, football.
Right. Out on a limb stuff
that worked immediately and became the story of the sports world overnight.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it not only is the story of the sports world, they're actually really freaking good.
They've got great players.
Potentially, they're really good.
They got 2 Heisman hopefuls and Deion's son, and then Travis Hunter, who plays both ways.
Hey, you have a Heisman level quarterback, you're going to be a good football team.
It's an amazing story. All right, what did Jay Norvell have to say about Colorado, and how did Colorado respond? You'll hear that on the other side. Plus, this hour, you can win a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream. That's coming September 29th through October 31st. More information at SeaWorldSanDiego.com. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. On the other side, you're going to hear from Deion Sanders. You're going to hear from Colorado State's head coach, Jay Norvell, plus your chance to win tickets to Howl O Scream. Stay with us.
All right, this update is brought to you by Indeed.com. Padres, they have an off day today. It's a meaningless off day before they start another meaningless series versus the Oakland A's this weekend after a meaningless win last night versus the Dodgers. Not a meaningless win and outing for Blake Snell as he lowered his league-leading ERA to 2.43. And week 2 of the NFL season kicks off tonight in Philadelphia. Eagles take on the Vikings 5:20 kick. Summer days getting shorter and business to-do lists getting longer. You need Indeed. Their all-in-one hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Sponsor your first job. Get hired today by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
All right, your chance to win those tickets to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream later this hour. Why are you pointing at me?
Just move your camera, bro.
Move my camera.
My first time on camera. It's okay. There we go.
I got a little advice for you. A little tidbit.
I have some tidbit advice.
Don't ruin the radio show for the YouTube stream.
That's a good advice.
Let's hear from Jay Norvell. Okay. This is the head coach at Colorado State getting ready for Colorado.
ESPN today, and I don't care if they hear it in Boulder. I told them I took my hat off and I took my glasses off, and I said, when I talk to grown-ups, I take my hat and my glasses off. That's what my mother taught me. So,
okay, so a shot at Deion for the hat and glasses.
What is he thinking?
And why, we're not sure. They're 23-point underdogs. Maybe have that opinion next week.
Like, you're taking a shot at how someone looks and dresses.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, let's be honest. A hat and glasses. I mean,
that's a personal shot that's below the waist.
I don't know. Some people don't like it. There are times I'll wear a hat like at a meal, and it's not always. Some people don't think it's appropriate, and I do understand that. But,
but that's like an indoors thing. Name a head coach that takes their hat off when they do the post game interview.
True. Good point.
None of them.
There's a lot of them
or
that wear
visor.
hats. You're right.
None of them take it off.
I have some advice
for me
for him.
Okay.
How about instead of worrying about if Deion Sanders is wearing a hat and sunglasses all the time, maybe you should worry about how you're a 23-point underdog this weekend and how you should try to, I don't know, contain, which you won't, Shedeur Sanders.
Right. This is a Colorado State team, just so we are clear.
Hat and sunglasses. What an idiot.
Listen to this. Colorado State This is their last 6 seasons. Okay, 0-1, 3-9, 3-9, 1-3 COVID, 4-8, 3-9.
Is that good?
It's been awful. Now, at one point, Colorado State was a very proud program. They gave Colorado fits in this series in the 2000s. That's not necessarily the case anymore. Now, Deion, here's the other crazy part. Deion had been really complimentary all week of Colorado State facing another black head coach. He had talked about the importance of that.
Yes.
It's the only time he's going to do that this season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he didn't like what Jay Norvell said and had this to say at Colorado practice, right?
Yes, sir. I'm minding my own business, watching some film, trying to get ready, trying to get out here and be the best coach I could be. And I look up and I read some bull junk that Deion said about us. Talk to us. Once again, talk to us. Why would you want to talk about us when we don't talk about nobody? All we do is go out here, work our butts off, and do our job on Saturday. But when they give us ammunition, they done messed around and made it what? It was just going to be a good game. They done messed around and made it personal. It was going to be a great test, a battle of Colorado, but they done messed around and made it personal.
The best part about that is at the very end, Deion is smiling ear to ear because he knows this is what he maybe not needed, but absolutely wanted to happen.
He's made for that. I mean, he's a brilliant speaker. He's a brilliant motivator. If you've watched any of this stuff on social media, this is constant. In week, before the game, after the game. I don't know what it looks like if things don't go well because I haven't seen it as of yet. Although I do recall last year, Jackson State lost the championship game of whatever they were playing in. I forget what it was. But the championship game, like the Celebration Bowl, and some dude dropped a touchdown, easy touchdown, could have won the game for him. And I do remember post-game, they showed him in the locker room. He was already on his way for Colorado. And he went up to the kid that dropped the touchdown and said, "This isn't on you." Like, he completely picked this kid up in his lowest moment. I mean, you dropped the touchdown in the championship game, and he completely picked this kid up. So he's positioned himself really well. He knows what buttons to push, which is really unbelievable. He's not some longtime head coach. He's just gotten into this the last few years.
Well, he's already got those kids so pumped up that they'll all run through a brick wall for him. So now
I want to run through a brick wall for Deion.
See, that's my point, though. So now anybody that talks ish about Deion, they're just going to be like, "Oh, you don't say that about our head coach," and it's just going to pump him up even more. So why would he even say anything?
Deion is one of the greatest, like, not only talkers in sports history, but just competitors. And he backed it up all the time. He goes down as one of the greatest cornerbacks in NFL history, maybe the best. It's hard to think of somebody better for an overall career than Deion Sanders. Like, when you say Deion Sanders, you think lockdown cornerback. You think one of the all-time greatest.
Well, I also think about his 15-year career in the big leagues.
Also two-way player.
To sport
player. And what do all the greats like have in common? They all have to either find something to motivate them, but they're such geniuses when they have that opportunity in front of them to find something to motivate them to become the best player on the planet, whatever they're doing. So to literally just take out a silver platter, give it to Deion, and say, "Hey, Deion, here's bulletin board material for you for this week," where, to be honest, it might be a little tough because we know you're playing Oregon next week. So you hopefully would overlook us. But no, we don't want you to overlook us. We want you to absolutely murder us this weekend. Here you go.
It's kind of crazy because when I bring it back home locally, I'm like, I mean, we talked to Brady Hoke for an hour a week, literally for years. And he goes out of his way never to put himself in that spot. You know who else does that? Brian Dutcher will always be complimentary of opponent, regardless of level or circumstance, right? You know who else did that? Rocky Long. Like, you got to be acutely aware to never even be close to the line that Jay Norvell crossed. Here's the thing I would say about Colorado State, too, and I said it a minute ago. He can say whatever he wants after the game.
It doesn't matter.
But to say it in the week leading up to the game is probably not smart. Now, we'll see how it plays out. Maybe Colorado State shocks the world. Shocks the world. I find it hard to believe, but maybe Colorado State shocks the world. You say they lose by 40?
I honestly, like, first drive, they're going deep right away. if they score a touchdown, I wouldn't be surprised if they just go for 2, like right away. Like, screw you guys. And this is also a guaranteed lock for this weekend.
Okay, you got guaranteed locks.
Guaranteed locks. 90% of the people in that stadium that are Colorado fans, and 100% of the Colorado coaching staff will all be wearing hats and sunglasses. Guarantee it.
Yeah, probably. But the game's out. Well, it's at night, right?
It's even more. That makes it even better because it stands out even more at night.
You know what this is reminding me of? You've seen the 30 for 30 on Miami in the 80s.
Oh,
you?
Yeah.
What's happening right now in Boulder with Deion is reminding me a lot. And I've watched these first 2 games. The way this is all occurring, also what's happening before the games, like in the week leading up, all the hoopla. It's a lot like Miami in the 80s. Now, the difference, of course, is Miami in the 80s won at a really high level. I don't know if Colorado's going to do that or not. I do know this. It's going to be a roller coaster. There's going to be extreme highs. I don't know if there'll be extreme lows. I don't know how long he's going to be there. I don't see this as the decade of Deion in Boulder. I'd be utterly shocked if that's the case. But for the next year or two, this is like this moment in time where you're like, wow, remember when Deion was with Colorado in Boulder?
Well, then where do you think he goes?
Florida State is probably a pretty good bet since this is alma mater.
But he also has said recently that it's not his alma mater.
Well, okay. Well, whoever's going to give him 6 years, 88. I mean,
what if Colorado couldn't do that? I mean, they're going to make so much money off Deion right now anyway.
Maybe.
Why not invest it and put it back in Deion?
He's also not a kid. I don't know how long he's going to be for coaching. He's not in his 40s. Is he? He's in his, I mean, he's probably almost 60 at this point, isn't he?
No, Deion? He's not almost 60. Is he?
He's 56.
Okay.
I'm saying, like, I don't know if he's going to be doing this when he's 70.
How old is Nick Saban?
Well, Nick Saban's one of the great coaches ever, and he's coached his entire career. And
I don't think Deion's going anywhere anytime soon. I really don't. I think that
71.
Yeah, but to use Nick Saban as your example, well, Nick Saban's like the number one coach in the history of college football or recent football. Just because Nick Saban coaches until he's 71 doesn't mean Deion will.
I'll say this. What Deion is doing right now at Colorado, the winning is honestly a bonus, it feels like, because the exposure for that program, okay, the exposure for the school, the money that school is bringing in because of Deion, the merchandise sales, the tickets, the celebrity. I mean, LeBron James is tweeting about Colorado.
But I think you got to win. See, that's where I think if you lose to TCU in the opener and if you lose to Nebraska,
right.
I think you got to win. I agree. Oh man, it's a train wreck. You're watching.
Yeah.
But it's one way or the other. It's never going to be in between. There's no apathy when it comes to Deion Sanders. All right, call right now if you want a 4-pack of tickets to Howl O Scream at SeaWorld. First 2 callers will be our contestants for Trainwreck Radio. You want to call right now to win a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream. This is at SeaWorld San Diego. The number to call, 844-570-1360. Again, 844-570-1360. First 2 callers will be our contestants for Sports Trivia, Trainwreck Radio. Call right now, 844-570-1360. Great prize. We'll give it away next. All right, guys, I've been telling you about Windmill Farms. It is the college area's natural grocer. They've got you covered for this weekend. As you get ready for your sports weekend, whatever you're watching, pro or college, they've got you covered for all your game day needs. It's such an amazing spot, and you're going to realize that the second you walk in if you've never been. They've got farm fresh produce and meats. They've got amazing beer selection. It really is an incredible craft beer selection you need to see. They've got a great deli. I'm there during the week before the show, Jon and Jim, to pick up deli sandwiches. Whatever you need, they've got a full deli with award-winning sandwiches. They're centrally located off Del Cerro Boulevard, across the freeway from Montezuma Mesa. Windmill Farms is your family-owned market serving the San Diego area for 20-plus years. So kick off your weekend there. Get yourself ready for all your game day needs over at Windmill Farms, whatever it is. Beer, deli, meats, produce, whatever it is, visit windmillfarmsmarket.com. The reason to do that, you'll see their weekly specials. So again, windmillfarmsmarket.com to see their weekly specials. And remember to shop local and shop at Windmill Farms. The Tin Caps, America's team.
I need an update.
They're playing game 2 of a playoff series that's best of 3 with the Dodgers affiliate, the Great Lake Loons. Maybe Great Lakes, but whatever. The Loons. This is in Midland, Michigan. After winning in Fort Wayne game 1, I think it was a shutout. Now, Great Lakes scores a run in the first inning. You're thinking, well, if this is the Padres, game's over. But Fort Wayne is no Padres. They have come back with a 2-out hit in the third to tie the score at 1. They're still batting in the third with 2 outs, with runners at first and second. Should the Tin Caps win tonight in Midland, Michigan, maybe they're going to the championship series. They're moving on in the Midwest League, and I think potentially to the championship series.
Do you think AJ Preller and Peter Seiler will show up to their first game of the championship series if they make it there?
I don't know. I don't know where AJ Preller is right now. Could he be in Midland watching this game?
He's probably already there.
Yeah, he's probably there. I
Could be there.
You say you can do everything off Zoom, so why wouldn't he be there?
I don't know if that's a fair criticism that he's not around enough. If they were winning and he wasn't around enough, would it be a fair criticism?
Well, are
they losing because he's not around enough?
John,
they're losing because he's in Michigan.
A couple years ago, if you remember, The Athletic put out an article, very detailed article, stating that AJ Preller needed to be around the team more, and that in 2022 he was going to do that because in 2021 he wasn't, and it was a disaster.
So did he do it in 2022?
I'm not quite sure.
Because they won 89 games and went to the LCS.
I'm not quite
sure.
He's
not doing it?
But hearing Kevin talk to Darren earlier in the week and hearing him say how there is a lack of, I guess, Padres employees around the team now that they suck, it's interesting. Like nobody's there
But it's
anymore.
not why they suck.
No. I'm not saying it's why they suck. I'm just saying it's interesting when the going gets tough, they all just like leave.
Like, I'm going to be in Fort Wayne.
And we're not talking to anybody.
I'm going to Tokyo to go watch.
And I'm just going to go scout.
Professional baseball.
We're going to worry about the minor leagues because we actually do
Well,
stuff
what else do you want
there.
to do? Would you prefer, real quick, and then we'll get to, would you prefer he's at Oakland watching this train wreck, or would you prefer he's in Fort Wayne trying to get guys to help eliminate future train wrecks?
He's got to get those prospects to trade somehow.
Yeah. I mean, I would prefer for him to be transparent and like open communication with, the fan base more, and Peter Seidler have an open connection with the fan base more. And, instead of having just one time he talks to Kevin Acee in the season where it's like AJ Preller can do literally no wrong. I would like that. And I think the fans would like that as well, because this season has been absolute crap. So when it's absolute crap and your two leaders of the franchise are MIA and they have not spoken in months, maybe Preller spoke at the trade deadline, but I mean, he never says anything anyway. One of the worst interviews
spoke
possible.
since the trade deadline.
He has after the trade deadline, but he's one of the worst interviews ever. But I think the fan base would appreciate it. What? We're never getting him on the show anyway, so who cares?
I have nothing to say. All right, let's play.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Scott and Colin. Scott, you called in first, so you have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with today?
I feel like everybody always takes Jon, so I'm going to show Jim some love. Let's go with Jim.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It would have been funnier if you're like, it seems like everyone picks Jon.
So I'm going to take
Jon.
No, he already said me. He already took me. That means, Colin, you get Jon. Are you good with that? Of course you are.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. Brent, what is today's question of the day?
All right, guys. Jim's Eagles get ready to host the Vikings tonight on Thursday Night Football. Today's question: who are the top 10 all-time leading rushers in Eagles history? So top 10 rushers in
for Jim.
Eagles history.
Real quick before we start, when I went back home with Aaron to New Jersey,
to your home,
it was a little cold one night, and so we were like, hey, let's go to get a sweatshirt from my dad's closet. And there was just a random Eagle sweatshirt there. And Aaron's like, don't worry, I won't give you the Eagle sweatshirt. I promise.
Or was she like, don't worry, I won't take a photo of you. And the issue is you were photographed in like all Eagles gear. Don't even get me started on that. I'd forgotten about it.
All right, Colin, you're up first.
We're talking about that coming up.
Colin, you're up first. What is your first guess? And you do have your lifeline if you choose to use it.
If Aaron was a Dodger fan, Jim would be wearing Dodger
No,
stuff
I wouldn't
everywhere.
be. I would never go out the Dodger fan. Colin, first guess. What do you got?
Well, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm not going to get this one. But let's go LaShawn McCoy.
LaShawn McCoy,
yeah.
Good guess on the list. Scott, you're up next. What is your first guess? You do have your lifeline if you choose to use it.
If I just remember the last name, does that count?
Potentially. Let's hear what the last name is.
It was Staley, and I can't remember the first name.
It counts.
Big dude.
Big dude Staley. Deuce Staley. It counts.
It counts.
Staley?
Yep, there you go. Big dude Staley.
Yeah. It's not like you said Smith and you're just hoping
you're like, all right, Colin, you're up next. What's your second guess? You do have your lifeline if you choose to use it.
Brian Westbrook.
Great name.
Brian Westbrook.
Great player.
Yeah. Good guess there.
Do you know where he played his college football? Anyone?
Small school?
Yes.
I don't know.
Villanova, outside Philadelphia.
Okay. Who's up? Scott, you're up next. What's your second guess? You do have your lifeline if you choose to use it.
Was the question? Was it top 10 rushers, or could it be? Could a QB be included?
It's rushers.
Rushers. So
anybody. Anyone that's run for yards.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be a running back if that's what you're leaning at.
I'll go. I can't remember any more running. Oh, wait. No, Ricky Waters was a running back there, right?
Ricky Waters.
Wow. Not have guessed that one.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Colin, you're up next. Your final guess. What do you got? You do have your lifeline still if you want to use it.
Yeah, I need a lifeline here.
That's me.
That's
you.
Also, that's you.
Come on. For me, having been born there. Randall Cunningham.
Will you take that?
Yes.
Boom.
All right. Scott, final guess to send this thing to overtime. What do you got? You do have your lifeline if you choose to use it.
Dang it. That was my that was the QB I wanted. I hate to go so recent, but would Miles Sanders be up there?
I think he may be.
Miles Sanders
He is on the list. So now, okay, so we're tied. Was by the way, Donovan McNabb on the list?
He was not. He's 11th.
Oh,
that is my guess. So thanks for not using me, Scott.
Who else is on this list before we get to overtime?
Sproles?
No, because he was like a return.
Give me a break. All right. Number one, McCoy was 1. Wilbert Montgomery was 2. Westbrook 3. Steve Van Buren was 4. Deuce Staley was 5. Cunningham was 6. Ricky Waters was 7. Miles Sanders was 8. Timmy Brown was 9.
Brown.
Tom Woodcheck?
Tom Woodcheck.
Yeah, he was 10th.
Of course, Tom Woodcheck.
All right, so what do we have now?
All right, how overtime works, guys, is I'm going to ask you both. I'm going to ask a question. When I'm done asking the question, you're going to yell out the name of your partner today, either John or Jim. Don't yell out the answer. Whoever yells out their name of their partner first, you are going to win the game by getting the question right, or you're going to lose the game by getting it wrong. Do you guys got it?
Yep,
got it.
Okay, today's overtime question. Who is the Eagles head coach?
John.
I heard John.
All right, Colin, what do you got?
What do you got, Colin?
5 seconds.
I'm out of my lifeline, too. Oh, my gosh.
Eagles head coach.
I'm out of it.
They were in the Super Bowl.
Nick
Sirianni. Wow. Scott and Team
Scott
Jim.
With the win, the backdoor win.
It's a sneaky name.
It is.
For being as good as they've been, it's a sneaky name. I do agree with that. East Coast, not West Coast. It's a sneaky name.
Good job, Scott. Way
Wow.
to do nothing in overtime and get the win.
College strategy was smart. Let me buzz in and figure it out. Like that was the strategy there, I think. Let me buzz in. I feel like I'm going to get it.
But then he didn't get it.
I know.
So it's a risky play. That's why
risky.
overtime is risky.
That's true. If he would have it's true.
So you got to make sure you get it right. You can't just press the button and have no answer.
That's fair.
Well, we don't want to do like that one day though, where neither one of them would answer.
No one answered.
True.
It is a strategy.
All right. Wow. What a game. Scott, congratulations. You've won a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream, to SeaWorld San Diego. And with every twist and turn, death-defying drop, all new special effects, and more scares in 4 terror-filled houses will give you something to scream about. There's even more dark magic lurking around every corner with electrifying and mesmerizing live entertainment. The screamiest event of the season is now at SeaWorld San Diego's Howl O Scream, September 29th through October 31st on select nights. For more information, visit SeaWorldSanDiego.com. The Red Sox make a change at the top of their front office. Does it mean anything for the Padres or AJ Preller's future. Plus, we'll give away tickets to the Pacific Air Show in the 5 o'clock hour, plus Jim's Backpage. Hour 3, Jon and Jim next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Indeed.com. As I've been saying all day, the Padres, they won a meaningless series versus the Dodgers last night. Blake Snell, though, not having a meaningless season, kind of, but he lowered his league-leading ERA to 2.43.
What is this, the editorial updates?
Yeah, it is. Also, the Padres will start a meaningless series with the Oakland A's tomorrow in Oakland. NFL Week 2 kicks off in about 20 minutes from now in Philadelphia. Eagles, Vikings in Philly on Amazon Prime.
And the Niners suck.
This meaningless update brought to you by Staples.
Yeah, this meaningless update is brought to you by Indeed.com.
San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour of Jon and Jim. We are here until 6 p.m. Tomorrow, by the way, is Friday, Jim Fact. We will be at Fair Play in North Park from 3 to 6. One of our final remote broadcasts of the Padres season will be at the Blind Burrow another time when the Padres come back for the final homestand of the year. We'll be at Fair Play again, final week of the season, but we're heading towards the end. We're heading towards the end of the season. Last year, this time, it was exciting. October, it's some crazy days at Blind Burrow and Fair Play. This season, not as much. So we will be there. Join us tomorrow, 3 to 6, Fair Play in North Park. Padres A's kicking off a 3-game series.
We will bid adieu to Fair Play.
Well, no, we won't, because we'll be back 2 weeks
soon.
later. Yeah.
And the same thing with Blind Burrow. Great places to broadcast, great places to go. Blind Burrow recently got named Best Sports Bar in San Diego County. So, yeah, it will until next year where we can come back in and say, I saw it.
Dude, stop. If you know, you know.
Brent, he doesn't know what Sadu is.
He spent.
You don't know that either?
No.
Oh my
Please
gosh.
Stop. And honestly, you ruined the wrap-up show last night. You cannot ruin the radio show.
Sadu.
Okay, so here's the deal. Here's how we started the show. And if you'd like to apply, just email me. If you want to work with me, just please email. Just at
Make
Jon
sure to
Schaefer.
include a nice cover letter.
At Jon Schaefer, JONSCHAEFFER.
All you have to do is say, I worked, and that's
Perfect.
it.
You're hired.
You're hired.
You're hired. We started the show by letting you know that a general manager with a winning record was fired today, Chaim Bloom, and he was fired after less than 4 years on the job. And he also took his team to a championship series, and he did it recently in 2021, and that team won 90-something games with the Red Sox. And the Red Sox this year are over 500. So we kind of thought to each other, a lot like when the Mets hired David Stearns, this young, bright executive that's highly thought after, like, the Mets, have had a disappointing year, but have decided to go for it moving forward with David Stearns. The Red Sox, by their standards, disappointing year, not good enough. Chaim Bloom is out. Padres, meanwhile, have also had a disappointing year. Their GM, unlike the Red Sox GM, has been there for the better part of a decade. Jim said earlier, like 13 years, even though it's only 9. But Preller stays for now. We haven't heard from Seidler for a long time, months now. The assumption, and it is an assumption, the assumption is AJ Preller stays, but I don't know if it's the right assumption or not.
The only really, I want to say, important things that we've heard from AJ Preller this year, off the top of my head, is when he spoke to John Heyman in the New York Post, and he said, "Oh, everybody loves each other in that clubhouse. We're just not hitting right now." but we're a good team. But hey, I want to let everybody know that everybody loves everybody in that clubhouse.
He also, though, did rip the offense. Like, our offense has been bad. Remember, it was like a really interesting. He's like, oh yeah, our offense, we can't hit.
And he's been on a couple other interviews where he said absolutely nothing.
Right.
Part of the course of AJ Preller, by design, by the way. If anybody's wondering why AJ Preller never says anything, he does it by design.
But it's honestly, it's smart. You just spent 20 minutes criticizing Jay Norvell. So it's like, when you don't say anything, you're not going to say something.
Well, how about Jay Norvell said something stupid?
I know, but it's like, if you say something, that's a possibility.
I want to hear like, hey, like this needs to change. We can't be doing this. This is how we're trying to fix it. Instead, you get radio silence from the two, people in this organization that are running the ship in Peter Seidler and AJ Preller. And so were we thinking of coming in here today and talking about like AJ Preller should be on a hot seat and he should be gone as general manager and president of baseball operations? No, we weren't thinking about talking about that today. But you said, John, when the Red Sox are doing what they're doing, firing Chaim Bloom, who have, hired just a couple years ago, when the Mets are doing what they're doing, hired David Stearns as their new, president of baseball operations, and kind of cleaning house there.
Yeah, definitely.
And the Red Sox are doing the same thing. Those are two franchises that spend a lot of money. They're two franchises that have expectations of like trying to win World Series. Red Sox have expectations very high because
really
they have won 3 World Series in the last 2 decades.
Yep.
Okay. But the Padres can't do anything because, hey, AJ Preller's excellence, and this just keeps stability. And if stability means sucking for the next however many years he's here, then I'll take it. Like that is what I feel like the Padres are telling everybody right now by not talking and not doing anything. And maybe that might change. You hope it does. But I don't think it will.
David J. Madfires made the interesting comp yesterday. I'm not saying he made an actual comp, but he said, hey, listen, there was a period of time, I'm paraphrasing, I'm old enough to remember when Artie Moreno was considered as good of an owner as there was in baseball.
Yeah.
But the way you look at it 20 years later is it was an egregious usage of spending, and it set the Angels back, right? A lot of the moves they made with the benefit of hindsight should not have been made, and Artie Moreno was at the helm of that, right? Overseeing it as the owner. And listen, he spent. So just because you spend doesn't mean you've put yourself in a position to win. I'm still very much on board with Peter Seidler guiding this ship. To your point, though, you're wondering where the ship is going if AJ Preller remains at the helm of it from a baseball operations perspective much longer than this. And I don't know if he's going to. And if he remains there in 2024, I'm not going to tell you, Peter Seidler, oh my gosh, all of a sudden it's an Artie Moreno situation and there's no hope. I think some people may feel that way. I won't feel that way. But it'll be interesting because, yeah, we haven't heard from him in so long. There's this assumption, Jim's made the assumption a lot, you're probably right, that he's going to be back. You'd be shocked, surprised, right? If he wasn't. I don't truly feel like that until I read the Kevin article. I'm like, he's kind of put himself in a corner. But I don't know. It's like humans change their minds. Maybe he will.
He's, to me, run out of chances. After 2019, and then after 2021 especially. 2021 to me was like end of the line. You have no more chances here. You can't, if you're allowed to stay here and hire another manager, your third manager, and I think 7 years at that point, you have no more chances. Like that was it. And that's something that we talked about at nauseam. Like we talked about that all offseason, is that this was the final chance for Preller. I would be fine if Preller came back, but that was the last straw. You can't mess it up. And then they hired Bob Melvin, and you're like, there's no way this is going to get messed up. It might be like not the best relationship between Melvin and Preller because Preller is kind of a psycho, but like, there's no way this thing gets messed up, right? And then last year happened, albeit it was a rocky road to get to the postseason, but they made the NLCS. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, they turned that corner. They're not going to be incompetent anymore. They're not going to be a laughingstock of baseball. They're going to actually contend for World Series every year. They're actually going to potentially compete with the Dodgers for division titles. They're going to make postseason after postseason after postseason, and they're going to always be in the mix. And then the year later, after after the NLCS run, they're right back to 2021, and honestly, probably worse.
Yeah, you said it well. I mean, listen, if you want to play the game of, hey, AJ Preller doesn't deserve a 10th year, it's an easy game to play. Like, you'd rather be
I'd win that game every day.
Right. It's like when you have an open and closed case in a court of law. Yeah, it's a lot easier to have that hand. An open and closed case, it's a lot harder to be the guy representing the guy that has no case. So yeah, I get the point. It's an easy case to make. What we unfortunately hear with Peter Seidler potentially is that he's already made up his mind, because what we saw from him in that article with Kevin Acee is someone that, at least at that time, had made up his mind. He was he literally said period. He's like, AJ Preller isn't going anywhere, period.
With another period attached
with
to
a period. Right. So he said that, and then he doubled down and said
spell
AJ
it out and then put a period after
and he
that.
said AJ's excellence. But however, does that mean it's a lifetime deal for AJ Preller? I mean, are we to take him at his word?
He's signed through 2026, John.
So if 2024 goes sideways, he's back for 2025. And if 2025 goes sideways, he's back for 2026. I'm not going to take it that far.
And by they, I mean Preller, has done everything that a GM could possibly do to get fired in his tenure as the GM and president of baseball operations. Would a GM get fired for being suspended for giving false injury reports to help him in trades? Probably. Well, guess what? AJ Preller did that, and he's, 7 years later still here. Would a GM get fired for going through 4 different managers in a 9-year span? Yeah, GMs would get fired for going through 2 managers in that year, in that amount of time. Would a GM get fired for not winning a division, for not making a World Series and not winning a World Series, which is the most important thing, in his tenure as a GM? Yeah, they would. Preller's done all of that. Oh, by the way, would he also get fired for, having collapse after collapse and then a horrible season and spending all this money and handcuffing your franchise and trading away a bunch of prospects? Would that GM get fired? Yeah, that GM would 100% get fired. Not AJ Preller, though.
How about this?
Chaim Bloom got fired. The Mets GM got fired. The Angels GM got fired.
How about this? Well, I can make it a lot easier. He's the 3rd most tenured GM in baseball. So there have been 27 changes.
And let me guess.
Since Preller. The others are Cashman and Mike Rizzo.
Okay.
Who was just extended. Now, so he's the 3rd most tenured general manager in baseball. With that being said, and listen, there's some guys who have kept their jobs for long whiles that haven't necessarily had success, obviously. But maybe none with the resources as Preller, right? Preller's had the resources at least in the last 4 or 5 years and hasn't capitalized. But I mean, there's other GMs obviously that haven't won. It's not like the Blue Jays are winning every year, or the Diamondbacks are winning every year, or the Twins are winning every year.
They're not spending $250 million. Cardinals, this is a horrific year for the Cardinals. But I think the GM and the president of baseball operations, I don't know the structure there.
Yeah.
It could be the same person.
It's not, but yeah.
I think they have a little cred that they can go back on and say, well, we've actually done it right here for however long we've been here. Like, we have a couple World Series to show.
But so did Boston. But I'm saying it's different GM now in St. Louis than the architect of World Series champions.
Well, what I'm saying is, to your point of if anybody out there saying, well, look at the Cardinals. Cardinals suck this year. You want to fire that GM?
I mean, people probably are saying that, right? I would guess that's what they're saying, honestly, in St. Louis. I mean, the facts are the facts. Yeah. He's the 3rd longest tenured GM in the sport, and I agree with you is my point. I mean, how can you be the 3rd longest tenured GM in the sport and have not a ton to show for it? The other 2, 1 million championships under Cashman. Not really, but a number. Mm-hmm. And then Rizzo's got 1, and he's kind of rebuilt the thing, by the way. Yeah. A lot of people are high on the future of the Washington Nationals.
And here's the thing too, because I know this would happen next year at this time. If the Padres are in a playoff race, or if they're a really good team, we'll get the, well, remember when you guys said that you just wanted to fire AJ Preller last year? Yeah, I do remember that. And I also know that opinions can change, but I don't think my opinion's changing on this one.
Well,
like even if they do well next year, I'm still on board of this team needs to make a complete overhaul. This team needs to get rid of the problem, which is AJ Preller, and they need to do it now because if they continue to wait, things could get worse. You could have a good year mixed in there like you had for 2022. Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. I always say that. So, yeah, you could have a good season sprinkled here and there. But don't you want consistency? Don't you want like a drama-less organization? Because John, you know it. This organization is filled with drama every single year.
I actually don't prefer that for what we do for a living, to be honest.
Kind of agree with you.
And
But you get my
secondly,
point.
if they have a good season in 2024, I won't feel the same way. Like you said, I'm going to give them credit. If AJ Preller is here and they have a good season in 2024, then I can't be critical of 2024. I mean, I can't say, but don't you want consistency? Like, well, what can you do other than win in 2024? Can't win in 2025 and 24.
I know. I just said opinions change. Like,
but you also just said, but blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Right.
So
would I believe that next year, if it was a good year, would be a turning of a corner to like 4 straight playoff seasons? No, I wouldn't.
Right.
It's just what happened last year and then this year.
The problem is it's all about the now. If you do want to fast forward and say, hey, they made the playoffs in 2024, well, then they made it 3 of the last 5 years.
Which
if they don't make it in 2024, then you say, hey, they've missed it 3 of the last 4 years. That's why it's all about the now. Of course, it's overly relevant. What they do in 2024, we won't be talking about in 2023.
Well,
if they're bad in 2024, right, we'll be talking about that. If they're good in 2024, how many people are going to be harping on 2023?
Ooh, I like that. I'm going to add that to the excuse category. We made the postseason 2 of the last 4 years. Is that one?
They've made the postseason 2 of the last 4 years, including this season. You're saying? Yeah, that's right. They've made it 2 of the last 4 years, which isn't great when half the teams make the playoffs.
4 years.
Let's go to the phones. 844-570-1360. Dave wants to weigh in. Dave, thank you. You're on with Jon and Jim.
Well, thanks again, man. Great conversation as usual. Before I get into real quick on Mr. Preller, I do know for a fact that Mr. Emilio Pagan has made dinner reservations with Trent Grisham. He's taken him out to dinner. He is so relieved now that somebody has blown Jim's baskets besides Pagan.
Yeah.
So now we got the golden Grisham instead of the golden Pagan. So
am I invited, Dave?
What's that?
You're buying.
Am I invited to dinner?
He should be buying.
Well, you know what? I'll see about that, Jim. You should. You've earned it, and good for you. So the word you're looking for, Jim, is sustainability, and that's what the problem is with the Padres, and will be no matter what they do next year. And I find it amazing that they haven't extended Bob yet, even though the Nationals have extended Davey Martinez. So, I don't know.
They're going to fire Bob Melvin, Dave. That's why they're not giving him an extension.
Well, of course. We all know they're going to do something stupid. But when you have an owner that talks about continuity and all this other malarkey, doesn't it feel a little bit strange that, the first thing you do is you blow out one of the highly regarded managers in baseball? It's just, I don't get it.
It is a good point, Dave, and you can continue. I will say it is a good point. If you want to shut some people up, not all, others will be mad about it. If you want to shut some people up, extend them right now. That's a way to at least say, hey, listen, we've made up our mind on Bob Melvin. He's our manager moving forward. So why not extend him a year?
Yeah, it makes sense it'd be the right thing to do given what this man went through. Holy cow. We should have a Bob Melvin day. We really should.
Dave, thank you.
All the crap he's dealt with. He is part of the problem as well. He's not somebody that is blameless in this whole thing.
No doubt.
He has done things that you scratch your head about, and he's done things that, upset and probably potentially cost them games. But to fire him, it's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be fired, to be honest, because he could resign or he could be back. And entering a final year, I forget who mentioned it, Kevin. He made a good point. There's a lot of managers that enter final years of contracts. It's not football recruiting.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Manny Machado, it doesn't matter. Who cares? If it's a final year of a deal.
But you would agree, though, like something has to happen, though.
Something will happen. I just don't know what.
If they didn't fire Bob Melvin, then nothing would have happened.
Well, as far as we know right now, based on one article written by Kevin Acey in the UT 3 months ago, yeah. If we're to take that as literal fact, what's it called? gospel. I was about to say gossip. If that's gospel, then nothing's going to change. But first of all, if nothing else, you'll get the 2021 change. Hey, we changed our scouting director. Hey, we did this. Hey, we did that. So we'll definitely get that level of change. The question is, do you get real fundamental change?
Yeah, fans deserve so much better than this. They just do. Last year was great, but the fans this year that have come out to the ballpark deserved last year's excitement for the
I agree with
for
that.
the foreseeable future.
No doubt.
Like at least the next 3 or 4 years, where it's playoffs. Hey, they won the division. Like that's the trajectory that you're supposed to be on when you finally break through. Look at the Houston Astros. They went from the worst team in baseball. They broke through, and now they're World Series contenders every single year. That's not the Padres. I don't see them doing that in the foreseeable future.
That's the problem, is when you compare the Padres to that's the problem. The comps aren't the Padres. Dodgers ain't the comp.
Right.
Astros are not the comp. By the way, the Astros have had their fair share of issues over that period of time. A huge share of issues.
World Series.
They blew out their general manager, who will never work again in the sport. They blew out their manager as well during the run.
Yeah, and they were smart, and they hired Dusty Baker.
They were very smart, and they deserve credit for it. But you still have people banging trash cans in random stadiums around the country.
John. And then they won a World Series last year.
They did, and there's still people that say that's not legitimate, even though I don't agree with that.
Anyway,
on the other side, more of your reaction to this, 70470-844-570-1360. Do you want to see Preller back or not? 844-570-1360, especially out based on what happened today in Boston. They get rid of their GM after 3.5 years. Do you want to see Preller back or not? 844-570-1360, 70470, start it with team. Plus, we'll give away those tickets to the Pacific Air Show. We'll do that next. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, we've got Pacific Air Show tickets to give away. We'll do that coming up next. Plus, discussing AJ Preller's future and an update in the Tin Caps in the Midwest League playoffs. Next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Indeed.com. Padres off day today before they start a meaningless 3-game series with the Oakland A's tomorrow in Oakland. Blake Snell, though, last night against the Dodgers, picked up his 14th win of the season, lowered his league-leading ERA to 2.43. And Thursday Night Football, Week 2 is underway in Philadelphia. Eagles and Vikings. Eagles have an early 3-0 lead in the first quarter. Summer days getting shorter and businesses' to-do lists getting longer. You need Indeed. Their all-in-one hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Sponsor your first job and get hiring today by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
Your boy Jalen Hurts, 4 of 4, 60 yards for the Eagles. You just mentioned the score. Thursday Night Football underway.
Got to wear my Hurts jersey today.
I know, dude. Also, your boy, whoever plays for Fort Wayne, the Tin Caps, game 2 of that Midwest League playoff series against Great Lakes. It's 2-1 Great Lakes over the Tin Caps.
No.
Remember, this is a Padres affiliate, Fort Wayne. Great Lakes is a Dodgers affiliate. Should Fort Wayne win tonight, they'll move on, we think, maybe to the championship.
We can't have this happen. The Padres, they need the Tin Caps to win so they can post about it and they can talk about how great their minor league system is. This can't happen. I need the Tin Caps to come back.
Well, it's a best-of-3 series. Even if they lose tonight, they'd have another chance.
I just want them to get it out of the way now so they don't have to go to the decisive third game.
By the way, this is the Midwest League East Division Championship Series, as you know, the MLEDCS.
Yeah, yep.
The winner does go to the championship series. So if the Tin Caps win tonight, they're trailing 2-1. Forget the inning. But they're trailing 2-1 in the bottom of the 6th inning. If they win tonight, they go to the championship. If they lose tonight, there'll be a game 3 tomorrow. A couple of things. We're going to give away these tickets to the Pacific Air Show. So we have tickets to give away to the Pacific Air Show. That's returning to Huntington Beach Friday, September 29th to Sunday, October 1st. Don't call now. We'll tell you when to call. We'll do it in the next 10 minutes. And it's bringing more sky-high action and nonstop thrills than ever before. GA tickets, only $25 plus booking fees. PacificAirshow.com. For whatever reason, Jim, you haven't discussed much today Bob Melvin's return to Oakland. Is this something that you're enamored with? This is first time back at the Coliseum since leaving the A's organization 2 years ago. Could be his last time ever managing there, since this, the A's might not exist.
There's a good point made earlier today by, I think it was Marty, that you might get like this series is talk about like tune out ability. Like there is nothing this weekend.
Wait, okay. What's the reason being?
Bob Melvin going back to a place where he has reporters that he has known for a long time.
Okay.
Might tell them some things that he might not tell reporters here, like off the record. Like, hey, man, this place is really bad. Like, like off the record, like, I'm done. Like, this is horrible here. And you might get some things that are said, and I don't know if they'll leak. That'd be awesome if they did, but you might get some things that Bob Melvin says to some people this weekend that are like,
that's interesting.
Like, hey, how bad is it there, man? Like because the Bay Area, like, I mean, they're not keeping up with Padres news every day.
No, they're not. I don't think they're keeping up with A's news. What's interesting there, though, is like, what if he makes news there that he wouldn't provide there? What if he actually publicly says, like, yeah,
I want to help out the reporters here in Oakland
because
they had nothing to do this season. So
yeah, like I
want to give them a little nugget.
Or I'm going to step down at the end of the year.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, it would be very interesting.
And that would be, to me, Bob Melvin getting out in front of any type of potential firing that would be laid down on him by AJ Preller at the end of the season.
Well,
I'm going to save face here. I'm going out on my own terms. I'm sick of it here. So back in Oakland, I'm announcing I'm stepping down at the end of the season.
If he is fully sick of it, if it is this terrible relationship between Preller and Melvin, he's done an amazing job of masking it. Sure, he'll say a thing or two in a post-game press conference, hey, it's who we had available, or this is what we have, but he is very professional. I mean, extremely. The way he speaks with reporters, he doesn't lose his cool. He's very professional. Like, for all this, hey, he doesn't want to be here, and I understand it on field. They're 9 or 10 games under 500, but are we 100% certain that's how he feels? Like, he's over it, he's sick of it, he's ready to move on? Because I watch all the post-game press conferences. He doesn't necessarily make it known that when I'm watching, right? Like, what's he doing to lead you down a path that this is not sustainable for him? Just because they haven't won? Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I could see him being sick of it because it's been a long year, but it would be a long year for anyone to have these expectations and be 9 or 10 games under 500. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not seeing this, like, this Preller Melvin friction. I'm not there every day or any day.
Do you have sources, John, that say that Bo Mel's going to quit at the end of the season?
No, I don't.
You don't?
But I also don't have sources that say that Preller and Melvin can't exist another year.
What about?
I mean,
what about other sources, John? You want to make up sources while we're at it?
I'm no, because
like other people do.
No, I'm not going to do that. But right, this idea that Melvin's going to step aside or Melvin can't work with Preller even. I mean, is that fully sourced?
That was like something, if you're smart and you watch this organization and you cover it every day and you know AJ Preller, that's something we all knew before he even managed a game with the Padres.
Well, that's the point. Like, yeah, so what's changed? So the Preller-Melvin dynamic was always going to be working for AJ Preller.
And it was always going to be a struggle for Bob Melvin.
It's probably better than managing in Oakland where you win 46 games.
I'm sure that there has been very little moments that Bob Melvin by himself thinking, I am so glad AJ Preller is my general manager.
Yeah, but this is what we would call in court speculation. Yeah. You also have no clue.
I don't have any clue.
We have no clue.
I know. I'm not saying I have a clue.
Of course, over the course of this year, I'm sure there's been, of course, it's a baseball season. I'm sure everything has been perfect. I'm sure they disagree on a lot, but that doesn't mean it's not possible for him to be bad.
Just my opinion of what I've seen and know of AJ Preller. He's a very hard person to work for. And unless you're a puppet, and unless you're a first-time manager, if you have any spine at all, it might be difficult to work with AJ Preller.
But he took the job, right?
He did take the job.
And it worked out fairly effectively a year ago.
Yeah, he took the job, and I'm sure he probably knew what he was getting himself into.
Yeah, I mean, We'll see. It's going to be really interesting. That's all I can say. It's going to be really interesting. Is Melvin back? Is Preller back? Are they both back? Are they both gone?
Yeah.
That's the thing. But I don't know. I really don't know. The whole Melvin thing, and it's just been a really bad year, is what it's been. So I'm sure it's not perfect. It shouldn't be perfect off a really bad year. By the way, if you look at Melvin in Oakland, they lost 90 games a lot. And then again, the expectations maybe were lower, but he took that team to the playoffs a lot.
Yeah, he did.
So they bounced back. I'm saying there were some seasons he had bad seasons, and then they were capable of bouncing back.
I think Bob Melvin's a good manager. Said that from day one. I think even through all of his flaws, I would still want him to be the Padres manager next year. But I've also said, like, maybe they just got to clean house. Like, just get rid of everybody.
Right. But then who's the next man?
It won't happen. I mean, I don't know, dude.
And then the next manager, we're going to say, well, he's got to work with AJ Preller.
It's these players' fault. And the players can't change because they were given unmovable contracts.
Right.
And so whether you like it or not, we're stuck with them.
Right.
The Padres, the fans, us who cover this team every day are stuck with Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts and Jake Cronenworth and Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove and Fernando Tatis Jr. for like the foreseeable future.
Yeah, hopefully it's not stuck. I mean, I still think some of that could be fruitful.
Could be.
Right? I mean, hopefully it's not. Listen, if the next 5 years are all years where they're on the outside looking in, then that's 100% spot on.
And of us, when you give players like that who are, getting a 10-year plus deal, what have we said? You have to capitalize on the first 4 to 5 years of it.
Right.
They've now checked off 1 year that's a waste.
True. See what happens in 2024. That's all we can do at this point.
2025 and 2026. And
but I don't think most Padres fans think they're stuck with that core. Now you could be spot on. It could be accurate, but I don't think people look at it like being stuck with that core. Now we'll see.
I look at it as being stuck with those giant contracts that hurt this team from building a well-rounded roster.
Could be the truth, and that's
not
why
the players. I look at the contracts.
And that's why if AJ Preller gets fired tomorrow, that doesn't change necessarily the fortune of the Padres in 2024. All right, let's give away those Pacific Air Show tickets right now. Call 844-570-1360. If you want a pair of tickets, caller 5, they're yours. The Pacific Air Show returning to Huntington Beach Friday, September 29th to Sunday, October 1st, bringing more sky-high action and nonstop thrills than ever before. GA tickets only $25, plus booking fees, pacificairshow.com. Caller 5, those are your tickets. 844-570-1360. 844-570-1360. Jim's Backpage. Next. Tin Caps update plus Jim's back page next. All right, your Tin Caps update. It's all anyone cares about. Fort Wayne trailing Great Lakes 3-1, top of the 7th inning. Runner on, though, Jim. Tying run at the plate.
Oh, no.
Fort Wayne wins. They go to the Midwest League Championship as a Padres affiliate. If they lose, game 3 is tomorrow. That's your exciting September storyline for the Padres?
That's very exciting, John.
Since they're not very good, the Padres.
I know, the Padres, they're not good. They suck.
What's the update in Philadelphia?
Give it to me.
3-0 Eagles, 40 seconds to play in the first quarter. Thriller on Amazon Prime. Eagles, Vikings, 3-0 Eagles.
Thursday night games are always hit. Like, they could be the hit and misses because it's just
short
hard.
weeks and the travel. I mean, from Minnesota to Philadelphia on a short week.
Yeah.
All that's a couple hours. Easy.
Kirk Cousins in prime time is never a good thing, though.
Even
it's
on
a
the
great
streamer.
matchup. Great matchup. You got Kirk
for
Cousins,
Thursday night, it should be. Yeah.
Justin Jefferson. You got Jalen Hurts.
Yes, you're
Devontae
right.
Smith.
Because we've seen some terrible matchups on Thursday night. So you're right.
I think Eagles Vikings is a very good
It
matchup
is.
for them.
I agree with you.
Very good.
Do you want to do a back page? You don't have a choice.
I want to do a back page.
Oh, you do?
All right. Wendy's, for the first time, is debuting the first ever pumpkin spiced flavored Frosties.
I saw that.
Now,
When?
These are already
They're already
available.
Oh, I might go tonight with Jones. Seriously.
Already available for a limited time.
Wait, it's a pumpkin spice. What's it called? Their smoothie?
Frosty.
Yeah. Pumpkin spice flavored Frosty.
I have a question. Hold on for Brent. If you were doing something tonight, are you going pumpkin spice Frosty from Wendy's or Dairy Queen Blizzard?
If I had a choice,
Yeah.
Dairy Queen.
Okay.
Because Blizzards are awesome.
Yeah, I
haven't
know.
had
They're
one
so
in like
good.
years.
I know. They're so good. All right.
I don't know if I've had one since I moved, honestly.
It's so good, dude. We're going to go.
By the way,
Before Hallow Scream.
the Wendy's Frosty with the pumpkin spice on it has enough sugar as 12 glazed donuts.
Okay, I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm not going to do that tonight. Not that the DQ
Get Jones the
Blizzard does.
biggest one they got.
Yeah, Jones will be up until 6 in the morning.
Like of next year.
12?
12 just regular glazed donuts. That's how much sugar it has in it.
It's ice cream?
It's ice cream and it's pumpkin spice. It's a frosty.
Wild.
It's a lot, dude. Get ready for
I
that.
still want to try it.
Oh, of course I want to try it too.
Yeah.
Of course. Try a couple sips and I'm done.
I wanted to try in summer they had strawberry frosties.
Yes,
and I
that's
never
right.
got to try one of
That's
those
right.
either. So
Yep.
So when Shohei Ohtani was in New York a couple weeks ago, I think this was right after he tore his elbow.
Yeah, I remember that. He DH'd, right?
He DH'd.
Mm-hmm.
A viral moment. I don't know if we saw this. It probably was big, like for Mets fans and everything, because Shohei Ohtani hit a foul ball and it broke part of the like ring banner scoreboard around the stadium.
The ribbon.
Mm-hmm. And it hit in such a perfect spot on the ribbon that they were promoting Coors Light on the ribbon at Citi Field.
Yeah.
And it like knocked out a giant part of the ribbon. And it looked like there was a hole in the Coors Light can.
Okay.
Coors Light has now taken that moment and capitalized on it.
Smart.
Coors Light is creating a commemorative can to honor the moment inspired by the damaged LED screen. These cans are going to go on sale for $17. Problem is, they sold out very quickly.
I could see that. Yeah.
So here's the can.
Yeah. No. Okay.
And
Nobody can see it.
No one can see it if you're seeing on YouTube here. But like, it's funny because if you watch the video, he knocks out the scoreboard and it's right on the Coors Light can.
Mm-hmm.
And so they basically just took that and put it on the actual Coors Light can.
And it's $17 for what? A case or for one?
For a can.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot of money.
I don't know if I need that.
Yeah.
Normally people are drinking Coors Light because it's affordable.
Petco beer prices are high.
Like, aren't you buying Coors Light traditionally because like it's affordable? I get a 12 pack for whatever or a 24 pack
because it's
for
a special can, John. That's why it's so much money.
I guess, yeah.
If it was
That's
a regular can, it's not that much.
But are Coors Light drinkers those that want to go spend extra for the commemorative can?
Well,
or maybe these aren't Coors Light drinkers.
Well,
These are
they're
just,
already sold out.
yeah, so I'm rolling that right.
And Brent sent me this earlier today. HGTV listed a home in San Fernando Valley. This home is going for $5.5 million. The kicker is this ain't just any other home. This ain't just a regular home for $5.5 million. You're thinking to yourself, what kind of home is this to go for $5.5 million? It's the Brady Bunch house.
Oh, wow.
The Brady Bunch house that was renovated by HGTV.
Mm-hmm.
Love that channel.
Oh, yeah, with all the house hunters and all
Oh, my God. So great. Has been put on the market
for $5.5 million.
AstroTurf lawn and all.
Everything. Yeah.
Wow. How big of a
cousin
home is
Oliver's
that?
even living in the shed.
Is it? Yeah. Is it big? I think
it's the
Brady
Bunch house.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Brady Bunch house. That's perfect.
We should all go in on it.
Last thing.
Okay,
James
I won't get that frosty then. We'll just buy the Brady Bunch house instead.
Before we get out of here, the James Webb Telescope.
Oh, here we go.
Just happened to stumble onto possible signs of life coming from a massive Earth-like exoplanet.
Oh, you just happen to bury it in the back page.
They're coming for the pumpkin spice frosties.
They're also coming to retrieve the aliens that were shown in Mexico the other day.
Excuse me?
I'll show you after the show.
You're going to show me signs of life on the telescope?
It was shown that there is aliens, and they showed a mummified alien the other day.
No one's talking about it.
Well, because when you see this alien, you'll be like, what? It looks fake. But hey, maybe they're coming back.
Join us tomorrow from Fair Play 3 to 6. Fair Play in North Park will get you ready for Padres and A's in the NFL weekend and the college football weekend with San Diego State as well. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify. Find us on YouTube. Search for Jon and Jim 760. Find us on social media at Jon and Jim. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. We'll see you tomorrow at Fair Play at 3 p.m. Keep it right here. San Diego Sports 760.
Shot it.